Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 Tier 2 round number 4. Today we are here for the 90 minutes of Bathurst, arguably the toughest race of the season for our drivers, as not only is it definitely the toughest track on the calendar this season, but it is also a 90-minute long race, not the 60 that we're used to. So the drivers will be able to refuel, and we should see some varying strategies. We'll see how much the drivers will risk it around the mountain. So as some of you may already know from past driving experience, Mount Panorama or Bathurst has got 23 corners, and half of them are on the mountain itself, and where it feels like you are driving around the streets of Monaco while up top, while going a lot faster than that. So it's going to be a mighty challenge for the drivers today. Before we go ahead and take a look at our preview hot lap, let's take a look at our current championship standings after we had a very eventful Hungary last race, where we saw the finishing order definitely change up a lot due to some early wrecks in the race. So if you take a look at our standings now, you can see that Tom right here, after having a dominant performance around the Hungaroring, he currently has an 82-point buffer to Florian Bauer, our previous championship leader. Both drivers have looked very strong this season, but Bauer got caught up in the lap 1 wreck out of turn 1. So he had a pretty mediocre Hungary, to say the least, and I'm sure he's looking to rebound after that. Simon Ramsayer is up 8 positions all the way up to P3 after his superb drive around Hungary. And Ole Pichich, after another very smooth and solid drive, is up to P4, with Pasquale Di Lucia in 5th and Connor Wright up to 6th. So the names of like July Sorp has dropped all the way down to 9th. And another big dropper in our grid is Alexander Irish, who's down 9 positions all the way down in 19th. But while those two have dropped, 2 drivers have really rose through our ranks, and that's John Sebastian Casnega, who's up 10 positions into P11, the Frenchman, who had a very good Hungary as well, was able to capitalize off the carnage. And another driver who capitalized off the carnage was Justin Hooley, who's up to 14th now in his Ferrari, and is looking to continue the momentum going forward. So now we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at our hot lap that was provided by Alexander Irish. So we'll head on board with him now. And see if we get some audio going. There we go, get some audio. Let's go ahead and take us around the 23 corners of that. Come across the line now. And go into turn 1, which is going to be no turn, which hopefully does not bring drivers hell to the race. We'll have to wait and see. Goes through turn 1 now, and he's back onto the mountain straight. The shorter of the 2 long straights on the circuit as he starts to climb the mountain now. And into one. Also turn 2, braking around the 50-meter board, 3rd gear, crossing the 4th onto the apex. With a nice wide line, barely staying on the track. He now starts to get tricky. He goes into the cutting now, turns 3 and then turn 4. But be very careful on the brakes there as he goes into 5, onto Griffin's Mount, which is dubbed turn 6 right here. So he goes through 6 now and into Reed's Park, Garage Hollow, followed by Solomon Park. The left hand is there. Not too hard, you gotta watch that wall right there as you go to John Hicksman Vista and Park. Now you get to see the beautiful skyline from Skyline and down into the Essex section. The Essex is made up of 6 corners, which is the trickiest part of the track as it's very tight because the Essex, as you can see, all on the full throttle downhill. And the heavy braking of the dipper. Not careful and you have more tires, you will go competing into the wall. But on the exit of the dip, you have forced elbow, as you see, and then onto the Conrad Straight, which is the fastest part of the track. Longer than the mountain straight and also downhill. Drivers can get a ton of straight line speed on the track here. You can see it's a very long straight as well, so it's a straight a bit huge. Now as it goes into the chase right now, it's a heavy braking into the chase, and then we have a nice exit out of a turn 21 and into 22. So we did a good run into the final corner, Marie's corner. It'll be about a 2-minute lap, give or take, in qualifying. And then in the race, might be a second or 2 off of that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But now, if we return to the track now, we'll take a look at the drivers as they have begun their qualifying. So I believe my game audio is muted conveniently, but currently, as you can see, Tom Ray here is leading the field now. He is currently on his first hot lap and is coming into Murray's corner now, and he will be the first driver to set a lap around Bathurst, and he sets a 2:01.2, a very strong first lap. Not sure if drivers will get into the 2s. It is going to be very tricky around here, especially with the tight walls. We'll have to wait and see. Neri Conjuglu, who did a 12-hour Bathurst, so nice to see this past fall, is down in P5 after penultimate laps. Justin Hooley into P2 and Nico Ohl into P3 as the drivers finish up their first flying hot laps of the session. One thing to note about the race today is that if there is a huge wreck on the opening lap that involves more than half the field, I will have to inform the coordinators of this, and they will have allowed one restart. I believe this is the only time that it will happen this season. That one restart will be in the event of if there is a car that has basically spun out somewhere on the mountain and caused much of the field to clash, as there is no ghosting feature or anything on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. You know, so the first lap will be keep an eye on much of the field. There will be plenty of action going on. Unfortunately, there may be a wreck or two, but hopefully nothing too serious. As we see a BMW right ahead of Tom Ray here. That is the 177 car of, I believe, our very own Shooter, aka Scooter 80, flying down to finish his first hot lap of the session. So, Hooley for the win. Now that would be quite the scene. He's definitely been on an upcharge, Hooley has, but not sure if he's at the pace at the moment. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, because everyone's only done their first lap, but Hooley is currently... I don't even see him at the moment. He's somewhere in the field. As Shooter sets the 8th fastest time. Hooley's in second. There he is. He's already in the pits, though, which is not too promising. Hopefully he didn't have a collision in the wall. Hooley in second, but Tom Ray here going fastest overall with a 2-minute .825. Neri Conjuglu, a 2nd and a 10th off of Ray here, sitting in P2. Now, I guess it does make sense that the drivers do their first couple laps, give some rubber down, then come to the pits early, as it is a very, very long lap. As Alex Torregrossa goes up into P3, and James Cowley is in P4. But Marlon Andrade in his 650S is now up into second place. But interestingly enough, he is still over a 2nd and a 10th off of Ray here, as Andrade goes way too light in turn 1, and that's surely a return to the pits. As Chris Jones goes up into provisional second place, a 2nd off of Ray here. So Ray here looking like the class of the field once again. Curious to see if anyone will be able to contest him today. But Chris Jones, taking a look at his championship so far, is down in P24. Only has 50 points to his name. So finishing anywhere above, if I am correct, anywhere in the top 8 will double his point total, and sitting in now in 3rd is July Sorp. This places Jones, but Jones looking to have a very good Bathurst. But like I said, qualifying is one thing, but race is another, as this track takes no prisoners. So Snes Latz, hopefully he can make the full 90 minutes today, as I believe he's been having wheel or internet issues, which would explain his 2 DNFs after a very strong Monza. So hopefully we can see Latz rebound and actually be able to go through the whole race this week, as he's shown some very good pace. He showed it at Suzuka before he disconnected, and then at Hungary as well. So hoping to see the number 5 Ferrari have a strong race today. So. Looking also, Sir Williams is up at the P9. We've seen him a decent amount this season. The American has had some pretty good qualifying performances, but his races haven't been as good. He's been getting a decent amount of damage on his car, so hopefully he can keep it on the track, but that will be tricky around the mountain. So we'll have to wait and see what Williams can do. As Pasquale Di Lucia jumps into 5th, he is returning to the pits as well. Is Andy Vandervelde on a lap? No, he is not. Let's see if we can get anyone else who's on a lap. Let's look at Ole Pitschich. Let's see what he is up to right now, as he's currently going up the mountain. Let's maybe even ride on board. Oh, no, on camera. We'll ride on board with him now. Hear the roar of his S1 V8 engine. Yes, we do have a newcomer today, and I need to crank that up. Let me go ahead and pull it up exactly, make sure I get the pronunciation correct. We have the newcomer is Rhea Audrey, a Turkish driver. currently driving today. Let's go ahead and take a look at his car. The number 20 Aston Martin in a very yellow livery, similar to what we saw on Connor Wright's Aston Martin. Hoping to see Rhea have a very strong race today. So down in P25 qualifying is not too bad, considering, you know, this race is definitely, qualifying does help. You know, it might avoid you any kind of early wrecks or anything, but it's all gonna be about surviving the mountain today. So nice to have Rhea in the field. So another thing that I do need to note today, Paulo Lima will be serving a drive-through penalty today due to Stewart's panel decision. So Lima, who is currently starting 24th, may decide to not try to start too far up the order, as they do have to come into the pits and do a drive-through, which hopefully does not involve having a damaged car. So that's unfortunate for Lima, but any other drive-throughs that we see pop up will be due to starting over the required speed limits. So back up towards the front now. Tom Ray here, coming across the line now on an out lap. He's got time for 2, maybe 3 more laps, depending on fuel and how much he pushes each of these laps. Ray here still has a 7/10 gap over Dennis Latt, sitting in P2, and is currently on the mountain with his previous lap 2:01.7. Not sure if he just came out of the pits though. We'll have to keep an eye on it, since it does not notify me if he's on an out lap. Actually, I believe he is on an out lap right now. I believe his delta is down. So we'll head on over to July Sorp, who's not too far behind him on the road. Sorp in that red Mercedes. If you recall, had a very good Suzuka, but then got caught up in the wrecks of Hungary. And, excuse me, after Sorp also had a mediocre Monza after a very strong qualifying, is looking to rebound around Bathurst. The Mercedes power should give him a lot of straight line speed through this part of the track, the Conrad Straight. So it'll just be a matter to see if Sorp can keep it out of the wall and possibly contest for a podium, maybe even a win if Ray here makes a mistake. But Ray here, who's back into the pits now, not sure if he had any damage. He's got enough time to do one more out lap and then a hot lap, but will he decide to do it or not? It looks like he is. So we'll have to keep an eye on now. But back to July Sorp, whose previous lap was an out lap and who is currently now on a hot lap. He has time for one more lap as Florian Bauer jumps up to P2. Let's keep an eye on Sorp now. Can Sorp improve on his lap time? Comes across the line. It's a 2:01.2. That is good enough for P2. Sorp only 4/10 off a pole as the track continues to improve. And one thing to note, in the top right-hand corner of the broadcast, you see the track is only fast right now. It is not at optimum. So I do find that interesting, but if it hits optimum on the driver's last laps, that could shuffle up the order just a little bit. So Ray here, who's still in the pits, and I believe his session might be over. I don't believe he's leaving the pits. No, I don't think he's going to leave the pits. So Ray here might have decided that, all right, he's happy with his lap, and he's done. As we see the likes of Lamborghini leaving the pits now to start one more lap. So Ray here's done. He cannot contest or defend his pole position. So now it's going to be a matter of, can Sorp or Bauer or Latz close the gap they need to on Ray here and seal pole position. We'll keep an eye on Bauer, actually, who's a little farther up the road and now going through the start of the S's right now. And Mercedes just snapping to the left and to the right of the field as Nico Ohl takes his Bentley up to P4. The Bentley, which there is a strategy that does allow it to, it's very good on the tire wear. The Bentley can go, as we saw yesterday by Black Gold Saw, can go the race distance without changing tires. So if the likes of Ohl or D'Couza can make it work in the Bentley, they might be in for a treat today. But for now, we'll keep with the theoreticals aside as we see an Aston Martin off the track by Bauer. Bauer's coming through the chase now and up towards Murray's corner. Will Bauer improve on this lap, or will he have to rely on his last lap as the potential deal breaker? Bauer out of Murray's corner now and across the line. It's a 2:01.2. Slight improvement on his time, but he's still got 4/10 to Ray here. Sorp goes faster behind with a 2:01.212. Two of them just barely trading blows with each other. So we'll have to wait and see if they got enough fuel for one more lap. Dennis Latz currently, who just crossed the line, he is starting his final lap. Neri Conjuglu is actually in the same group as these guys. So we got Sorp, Bauer, Latz, and Conjuglu all starting their final flying laps right now. We'll have to keep an eye on that. What about Ole Piszczich? Where is he at? He is just starting a flying lap as well. Chris Jones as well. So a bunch of these guys at the front of the field are all, you know, in that first sector and starting the mountain right now. So it's Pasquale Di Lucia starting a lap behind them. He is behind one of the black Ferraris. It's either Hardenberg or his teammate, hard to tell, but taking a compromise line into turn one and racing on in qualifying will never help you right now. So let's figure out who is that. I don't believe that's Adam Dubiel. That would be the Ferrari. So you got Hardenberg. Is that Hardenberg? I believe it is. Yes, that is Gillian Hardenberg. As the brake boards for Quarry have been destroyed by Di Lucia, who has given up on his lap. Hardenberg, who must not be happy that Di Lucia kind of compromised his turn one, may not have his best of runs. He's currently down in 26 and is done with the session. Right here is not done. First up in that queue was Bauer. I don't believe there was any. No, Neri Conjuglu is ahead of him, and ahead of Conjuglu is Alexander Irish. Can Irish improve from P18? Irish goes up to 13th. Neri Conjuglu is next, currently sitting in P7. Can he improve across the line? He improves to P6, but no better. Florian Bauer is next, coming out of the final corner. Stays P3. Can Sorp contest for pole? Does he have a good enough lap in his pocket? He will not improve. Does Piszczich have an answer? He's currently going into Murray's corner now. Piszczich, can he improve from P9? He is up to P6. What a lap by Piszczich. And in the background, we see Chris Jones all the way up into P4. Chris Jones in the Lamborghini with probably his best qualifying of the session. He goes right into the wall, and he is probably excited. Adam Dubiel now crossing the line. He is up into 15th, and behind him, we got two more runners, 65 of Chen, who is down in 30th, and the 12 of Marlon Andrade. So a very interesting starting order today. We got right here on pole. He's got almost 4/10 to July Sorp, followed by Florian Bauer, Chris Jones, and Dennis Latz. That is your top five. So as we're going to take a moment, and we will see. There we go. Let's get back into the drive so that I can keep it in the helicam for now. As there we have it. Notice that the race is starting in the early morning. I did not get a chance to see what the time delta changes, but do expect the track temperatures to rise and affect how the drivers race today. So we'll go down the grid right now. First place is Tom right here, starting from pole position or championship leader. Getting another pole this season, he's looking to extend his margin. July Sorp starting in second and on the front row once again. Last time we saw Sorp start up this high in the grid, he converted it into a win at Suzuka. Can Sorp knock at the door on right here or possibly close the gap up? But Sorp's got 114 points to make up. And in third place, Florian Bauer, P2 in the championship. Also another race winner that we've seen. So our three previous race winners starting in the top three right now. Florian Bauer, the German, looking to rebound after a disappointing Hungary. In fourth place, we have Chris Jones from Wales, the Welsh rookie in the Lamborghini, looking to have his best performance of the day, and he's got a good shot of it starting from P4. Now in P5, we have Dennis Latz looking to actually make it through the whole race today. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Hopefully we'll see Latz finish the race and see the German driver cross the checkered flag, hopefully in a respectable position. Marlon Andrade, the Brazilian, in sixth place in his 650S McLaren. The Brazilian having a very good qualifying session. Hopefully he's able to convert that into a good race after having a rocky few races. I mean, he had a good Suzuka, but his Monza was not too great, and neither was his Hungary. So Andrade looking to have his best result of the season. In seventh, we have James Cowley of Britain in his Lexus. Cowley is currently sitting in P13 at the championship and looking to improve on that. P8, we have Ole Piszczich, the Czech driver who's looking to have another superb outing. He's been very consistent all season, but he's looking to see if he can nab more points than he has recently. In 9th, we have Nico Hull, the Bentley driver, who had a really good first 2 races, but not a great Hungary. So we're looking to see Hull improve. Hull actually has a pretty nice livery. I don't think we can really see it that well from the helicam that apparently is finally loaded in for us, but that seems like a very spicy livery right there. Neri Conjuglu in 10th place. He told us, again, before the race that he did 12 hours of Bathurst in the fall, and he loves this track. Hopefully you convert that into a great race. Fingers crossed. So we'll have to wait and see. Pasquale Di Lucia, another driver who's been really consistent this season at staying out of trouble and having good races. The French driver looking to continue that streak of point-paying positions and continue improving in the championship. In 12th place, we got Mateusz Kizicek, the Polish driver whose name I can always struggle to pronounce, even though my last name is Polish, but I don't do it justice. Looking to see him have a good race as well, as he is currently in 18th in the championship. He's had some good results so far, but we're looking to see if the Pole can improve on that. And 13th, we got Paweł Arzabakovsky, another Polish driver on the grid. 2 of them starting 2 positions next to each other. He really is looking to have a great result, as he currently is down in 40th with only 14 points to his name, starting P13. If he can keep it clean, that might have a good day for him. Alexander Irish, the guy who sent us his time trial video once again, starting in P14, the German driver, the German rookie, looking to have another good race this season. He didn't really have that good of a Hungary either. He was like so many other drivers who got caught up in that early carnage.
20 seconds.
But Irish, you know, he showed consistency at Monza, and we looked forward, and he had an all right Suzuka, so hopefully he can rebound here at Bathurst. In 15th, we have Adam DeBiel, the Ferrari driver from Poland as well. So 3 Polish drivers in the top 15, all 3 of them looking to have good races. But now we're starting to look at the drivers who are in the middle of the pack, and it'll be very tricky to make it through this race. In 16, we got Andy van der Velde in the McLaren, the British driver, who's had, how has he done this season? I haven't really talked about him that much, I feel. Now let's see if we can give him a little more camera time today. Van der Velde currently sitting 25th in the championship. Only has 44 points to his name, but hopefully he can bring him some more spicy action today. And 17th, we have Alex Torregrossa, who had a pretty good first few races, but he got caught up in the carnage at Hungary, almost in Jersey, my goodness. The Spanish driver looking to have a good Bathurst. In 18th, Connor Wright, who put himself on pole to Suzuka only to get a drive-through, and then had a very good Hungary as well. Wright starting in 18th and in the middle of the pack is not where you want to be at Bathurst, so we'll have to see how he goes about it. 19th, Tobias Gerhardt, who had a very good Hungary after a poor first 2 races, is up in the 27th in our championship and looks to continue to improve after having a pretty good Hungary. In 20th, we have the American of Sir Williams, who's looking to keep it out of the wall today and hopefully clean on the track. In 21st, we got Justin Hooley, who at the beginning of qualifying was towards the front, but I guess he just struggled to improve on his time. Hooley, who has had a pretty good last 2 races, looking to make it 3 for 3 on good races, so we'll have to see what he can do today. In 22nd, we got Alain Rake from Algeria in his Ferrari, looking to have a good race as well. Rake, I do not believe had a good Hungary either. He is, again, one of many drivers who got caught up in the carnage, and he is currently down in 26th in the championships. 23rd, we have the newcomer from Turkey, Rea Audrey, looking to see what he can bring to the grid today in his Aston Martin. But like so many others, in the middle of the pack right now, and as long as he can get through lap 1, keep it going, it'll be interesting to see what the Turkish driver can do. Paulo Lima in P24, who has the drive-through that they have to serve from Portugal. He will have to serve that in the first 3 laps, so hopefully he does that without damage, so he can get about on his race. 25th, we got Samir Foch in the Ferrari. Samir is looking to have a good race around here from Austria. He's not had too many good results this season, but looking to improve on that. Gillian Hardenberg all the way down in 26. We saw Hardenberg in the top 10 at Hungary until he got some internet issues that caused him to spin out. So that was not what you wanted to see from Hardenberg, but currently sitting in 10th in our championship. Gillian's looking to continue to prove on that as the Dutch driver is excited for the race. Dacuza down in 27th in the Bentley. He might go for that Bentley strategy. He's also got that very cool livery on his car. Wait to see what he can do. In 28th, we have Shooter, who's hopefully not going to scoot into the wall. And I told him I got the puns ready for him if he does. 29th, the Chinese driver of Chen, who we've seen involved in plenty of action this season, but he has not gotten that good result that he's been looking for, so looking to see what he can do. And 30th, his fellow countryman of Jay Fang in the McLaren. Also a driver we've seen in plenty of action, but he had trouble keeping the rear end stable in Hungary, so hopefully he keeps it more stable here. 31st, we have Frank Pedrazi in the Audi, the number 3 Audi on the field. 32nd, we have Mario Marin in the McLaren. Marin looking to have a good race. He hasn't had any good final results, but he's shown us some good pace this season. And then last but not least, John Sebastian Castaneda, who I just talked about beforehand, who had a very good Hungary and improved in the championship position and increased his place by 10 positions. But now he's down in 33rd, which is probably not a bad place to be considering what happens on lap 1. So that rounds out our grid today. We are missing a handful of drivers, but that is sometimes the way it goes. So now, we're going to keep it with the Helicam, in fact. We'll keep the camera on our race leader, Tom Rayer, for now, but we will shuffle through the grid if needed. We are ready to go. Ready to go as they go through Murray's corner now. We'll keep an eye on the middle of the field to make sure no huge wreck happens. If there's a case of a restart, come out of the final corner now and wait for the green lights. Here they come up to the line. It is green lights. Go, go, go. And underway we are at Bathurst. Right here gets a great start, but Florian Bauer uses a little bit of slipstream in the background. We look down the order, make sure everyone's getting through okay. Only Pitchitz is okay. It's a little farther down the order. Andy Vandervelde. Doesn't look like we got any carnage through turn 1, knock on wood, as they go up towards the mountain now. Yes, everyone. It is green flags everywhere. There's no yellow flags on the track. Up towards the front, though, Sorp looking to swing around the outside, going into quarry. Can Sorp hang it around the outside on right here? They're side by side going up the mountain. Sorp goes a little too deep, and that opens up the inside for Bauer. Bauer is up to P2 while Rayer holds on to P3 as Rayer leads them up the mountain. We look down the order, make sure everyone's getting through okay. They're breaking into the heavy braking of the cutting. No one is looking to be in the cutting so far. There's a little bit of bumper attaching as they're going very slow up the mountain now. And it looks like everyone's gotten through the first part of the lap so far. We'll keep an eye on it. Right here, though, is under heavy pressure from Bauer at the front. Looks like Adam Dubiel got a drive-through off lines. Oh, right here, Bauer loses the rear end. Sorp loses the rear end, and we got a driver into the wall. That is one of the Ferraris. That is not good. Bauer lost the rear end. Sorp tried to dodge and went right into the wall. And it looks like took a prisoner, I believe, Dennis Latz, the guy we were talking about. Hoping he has a good race, but he took a hard lick into the wall before he even got to see Skyline for the first time. They're going side by side down the hill. We look through the order now. Looks like everyone else has gotten through cleanly. Up towards the front, we got Cowley. Looking at him, he's up to P6 right now off the start. Latz, who's a little farther down the order, he took that heavy lick into the wall. He might have to take an earlier pit stop than anticipated. He's just all the way down in P11. A little farther back, it looks like everyone else has gotten through the first lap cleanly outside July, Sorp, and Latz, who both took heavy licks into the wall. As now that opens up Rayer at the front, but Alex Torregrossa, look at him go around the outside of Gerhardt and into the chase now. He's got the inside line, and he has P16. A little farther back, we got side by side. I believe that was Jay Fang going side by side with Takuza. Yes, it was. We got a spinning Lamborghini off in the background. That might be, no, that's not Frank Pedrazi. Was that Mario Marin? Not sure. Actually, not sure who that was. We got a three-way battle at the back of the grid. That was the number 65 car. Not sure who that was. It was someone who really fell down the order. But at the end of the first lap, Tom Ray here has the lead. We only got two guys in the pits right now. Got Paolo Lima serving his drive-through, and I believe, if I'm right, Adam Dubiel as well. So two drivers serving the drive-through. The likes of July Sorp is carrying on. It looks like he's got a little bit of damage to the front end of that Mercedes. But wow, look at that line of cars and the sparks fly as they go into quarry. A little bit of visual damage from Sorp, not too much. Let's take a look at Latz's car as well. We saw him take a heavy lick in the wall. He's got a little rear end damage. It looks like his car is a little banged up, but he might as well carry on as everyone made it through the opening lap. Rhea Aubry has a drive-through as well. I did not seem to know that, so our rookie driver starting in their first race will have to serve that, otherwise they will be disqualified. This is not what the Turkish driver wanted to see today. And also, I realized that was Chen who was into the wall, or not into the wall, sorry, but he had the spin out of the chase. So the Chinese driver is going to look to have to close up the gap on the drivers in front. They'll go up towards the front. We got Tom Ray here leading them out of the Dipper, followed by Florian Bauer, and then Chris Jones right now up to P3 due to July Stork falling down. And Callie is up into P4. The Lexus moving pretty quickly, but right behind Callie, we got Marlon Andrade. Can he get the overspeed on the Lexus? The Lexus has a lot of straight line speed, but Andrade is filling up the rear view mirrors of Callie. Will he go for the inside move into the chase? He's holding down the throttle, but no, he will hold position for now. Looking through the field now, looks like we got a little bit of slower action down the back as the 116 car of John Sebastian Castaneda has fallen off from the rest of the field. Doesn't look like he has any damage, but ahead of him it looks like Mario Marin and Frank Pedrazi are battling it out, going into the chase, as it looks like Pedrazi has made the move on Marin. A little farther up, let's just take a look at Justin Hooley, who I know we got fans in the field right now. But yes, it has been a very clean first stop. We do have a driver in the pits, that is Dennis Latz. He is looking to make that early pit stop. He does have a decent amount of damage on his Ferrari after taking that hard lick into the wall. Yes, that's a decent amount of damage on his Ferrari. We'll have to wait and see how long he's in the pits for, but hopefully he's able to get back out there and make it until the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. We're back towards the front. Chris Jones kind of had a very good start. He's 2.2 seconds off of Bauer. He's another 2 seconds off of Ray here. So the two, Ray here and Bauer, we know they're friends, and you know they practice a lot together. So it's some little friendly competition at the front. But Jones currently sitting in P3, having his best race so far. But we're only 5 minutes into it, so anything can happen. It looks like we got a huge cluster down the order right now. Let's take a look at Alex Torregrossa. Yes, he's in the mix of that huge cluster right now that is going into Skyline and into the S's. A lot of these drivers in that middle of the field, you can see on our timing delta from from Jones down to Di Lucia, they're all separated by under a second. And then after Mateus, it's all once again very small gaps through the field, where they're kind of just bundling up in these slow corners like the Dipper and into the cutting. So we might see some very late but opportunistic moves right now. Sorp, surprisingly, still hanging on up there. Behind it, Nico Ull. Sorp definitely has a little bit of rear end damage, but definitely not as much as Latz. But still showing a decent amount of pace. So yeah, we'll see what he can do with that damage. He might come in for an early pit stop, but I think it's a little too early to make it to the end of the race. Just see Latz is still into the pits. He must have taken that much of a hard lick. He's going to come out a lap down. He's definitely got a decent amount of damage on that car. So his day, we're talking about, I was hoping not to commentator curse him, but it looked like it's not going that well. We also have another car that has left the session. We only got 32 cars left. We started with 33. Not sure who that was, who left, but we do have one driver that has retired, and there goes Dennis Latz. It looks like he has retired as well. So we have lost 2 drivers in the first minute, or the first 2 laps of the race. Hopefully we do not go 3 for 3 as we watch Tom Ray here go through the cutting up the mountain now. He is our current race leader in this 90 minutes of Bathurst. And him, we got Florian Bauer, who's looking very slidey on the mountain. We saw him lose the rear end coming out of McPhillamy Park. And he's sliding again. He's really sliding on the mountain. Bauer is going to need to cool his jets, because if he keeps that sliding up, he's going to destroy his rear tires, and he might end up in the wall at some point during this race. So hopefully he does not for his sake, but we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. Chris Jones in 3rd place, having a great race, followed up by a huge train behind him. Let's watch him from the rearview mirror down the mountain. You can just see how twisty the S's are. And then as you take into the heavy braking of the Dipper, sparks flying because of the low ride heights. It is just a stunning sight to see as they go down the mountain. But it's another guy we've got to look at. Let's look on the back of Callie. Look at that. He's got a rear view mirror of Brazilian Marlon Andrade in a 650S McLaren, who he's probably thinking, how is Andrade so fast in that McLaren? Well, I'll tell you, Andrade's got the slipstream. He's looking to make the move up around the outside of the chase. I don't know what our cameraman is doing right now, but Andrade goes way off the track. Hopefully not into the wall. He's got front end damage there. It looks like he kind of ran into the back of Callie, I would assume. He's got heavy damage. July Sorp completely misses the braking zone, as I believe a bunch of
the brake boards just got taken out there. Andrade pulling over the side of the road. He might be having some wheel issues or something. Not sure. He's going awfully slow right now as he comes right into the pits. Not sure what just happened there because our cameraman decided that they didn't want to watch him. So I do apologize, but let's see if Jones is, or Callie has any rear end damage. We also saw July Storm completely missed the braking zone. These camera angles are not so good, so I'm able to keep an eye on the heli cam for now. Might give us a little better angles. Callie, his rear end seems fine, so I'm not sure where Andrade got all the damage. I don't think the brake boards would give you that much damage, but looked like that was a heavy lick right there. And then the likes of July Storm completely missed his braking zone. And now he is sitting in the rear mirror of Alex Torregrossa as they go up the hill. There's a yellow flag in the background. We have a car that is round. Not sure who that is. Let's see if we can go with who is. I'm having trouble selecting drivers. We have a few more retirements as well. Looks like the number 12 car is into the pits. That's Andrade. Not sure who else. Someone else did just retire though. We know Dennis Latch retired. Adam Dubiel has retired as well. I think he was the car we saw around as well. We see Rhea Aubie, who has served his drive-through. So we're down to 30 cars, so no big wrecks, but the mountain has been taking prisoners. We have another car into the wall, the 116 of John Sebastian Castaneda. He is trying to get going once again. We're going to have to keep with this heli cam because this broadcasting cam is just horrible. Castaneda, who's got, looks like all kinds of damage going down the hill, he's certainly going to try to make it back to the pits. Yeah, we'll just have to keep with the heli cam now, folks, because these broadcasting cameras are just horrible. Right here is down to third, actually. We missed that while we were looking in the back of the field. Right here must have had a huge moment. He's down in third. Florian Bauer is our current race leader. So yes, while I was trying to figure out what was going on with the cameras, right here must have had a moment somewhere. It doesn't look like he has any damage on the car, but he is behind Chris Jones and sitting in P3. So the mountain still taking prisoners. We got a car off in turn 1. That is the Polish driver, Mateusz Kazichek. He is currently off the track. No damage by the looks of it, but he's going to drop down the order. After he was up in P8, he's struggling to get back on the track right now. So the mountain really taking no prisoners. I think we're missing a decent amount of brake boards on the track right now. I think that's part of the issue. Look at Connor Wright right now. He's currently moving up the order. He's up to P8 after starting in the middle of the pack. I said he didn't want to start there, but hey, look at him go. He's made it through the first few laps. We got another slow car, I believe a lapped car in the first sector. Yes, this is the 427 car of, who is that? Slow car of, yes, that's Mateusz. He's still smacking the wall. Hopefully he doesn't have, he might have a wheel disconnect or something. I'm not sure. But the Polish driver's day has certainly gone way downhill. But whose day's not gone downhill so far has been Florian Bauer. He had that moment coming out of McPhillamy Park, but he's currently got 4.6 seconds to Chris Jones. Again, not sure what happened to right here. It's way too late to pull the replay file up since we're not sure where he had his issue. He's down in P3. Hard to tell if he has any damage on his Ferrari. I don't believe he does. Let's go try to onboard with him real fast. See, doesn't look like he's got any front end damage. Rear end looks fine as well. So, might have just had a moment, the German driver making a rare mistake, but it was costly enough. So we're gonna go on board. Let's go TV set 2 now. See if that gives us a little better camera action. Yes, that's a pretty good view into the first part of the chase. So we'll stay with set 2 for now. Set 1, I believe those cameramen are a little funky today, but we also got another car off. The number 11 car is currently off through the dipper. That is Mario Marin, who's currently sitting in P20. He's made up 10 positions, but has lost most of them after having an incident through the dipper now. Mateusz is still struggling up the mountain. Hopefully he doesn't block our race leader. I believe he'll get into the misses. Marin goes into the wall going into the first part of the chase. He's got a lot of front end damage right now. Marin down in 23. He's probably going to have to come into the pits with the amount of damage he has. Yes, he is into the pits right now, followed by John Sebastian Castaneda. Hopefully they can make it to the end of the race, assuming they don't get any more damage. So, a little bit more action in the field right now is with Tobias Gerhardt. He's going side by side. I believe that's with Andy Vandervelde right now. They're going side by side into Quarry. Looks like Vandervelde will keep the position for now. He sees the inside line. He goes a little deep in the corner. Gerhardt gets a poor exit. Can Sir Williams make a move going up into the cutting? Looks like they will hold position for now, the Audi and the McLaren sandwich, but Vandervelde gets all sorts of out of shape there. He's going to be very confident as Gerhardt, but you don't really want to make an overtake going up the hill now into Griffin's Mount and then through Reed Park. The three of them are all neck and neck and neck. Let's go on board with Gerhardt now as he goes through Falls Hollow and then Solman Park. Now into John Hicks Vilma and McPhillamy Park. All three of them still barely separated by a car length between them as they go into the S's now and hold position. Gerhardt looking mighty quick down it and Vandervelde looking pretty slow. So I have to keep an eye if Gerhardt will try to make the move on the Conrad Straight and into the chase. But this battle is getting spicy as Sir Williams gets very close to the rear end of Gerhardt. So Gerhardt's got to be careful because he's got Sir Williams looking very quick behind him as well. The American up to P14 so far. I do see we have a fan from Frank Pedrazi in our midst, so welcome. And Pedrazi's up to 19th. He started pretty far down the order, and now he's currently sitting in at 19th. So Pedrazi having a good race so far. Sir Williams going very deep on the brake. It looks like the McLaren's able to brake very deep. Gerhardt, who looks like he had pretty good handling on the mountain, looks like just the overall just straight line braking is not what it is on that McLaren. Behind his lead, Sir Williams is able to close up a lot in the braking zone, so he just has to be running more downforce. They have the driver ahead. But as we finish yet another lap around Bathurst, we are currently at, I believe, 30 drivers. Andrade is still racing. He is currently a lap down. And in last place after taking the heavy lick. He's going to try to go to the end of the race. He's going to take a lot of fuel saving. So we'll see what the Brazilian can do after providing us with some pretty good action. Let's start the race. So, but back up towards the front, Florian Bauer has an almighty lead, as you can see on the mini-map. He's got 6 seconds to Chris Jones, which seems like a mile, to be honest. But one thing you have to keep in mind is what most of us saw yesterday, is that the likes of our former race leader of Amir Husseini was also in a Mercedes and did end up in to a side pod of another car. So hopefully, knocking on wood if you can hear. Florian Bauer does not have that same issues. Looks like his lights are flickering, so he might have a tad bit of damage on that car. Hard to tell. But this race, just because he's got a 6-second lead, does not mean that he is in a safe spot right now. As the mountain takes no prisoners. So, yeah, still not sure what happened right here, but he did get around Cali. He's up to P3. Yeah, well, actually, no. I think he was behind Cali. He was ahead of Cali anyways, so I do apologize for that mistake. But right here, kind of running pretty steady right now. He had a very good start, but then made some kind of mistake and dropped down the order. So right here, looking to catch back up to the 2 cars ahead. Chris Jones is looking pretty quick up there in P2. Jones is currently looking to have his best result of the season. So we'll have to keep an eye on Jones as well. Still very long way to go for sure, but it's always great to see a driver who hasn't done well so far, you know, shoot up through our ranks and get up right now, fight for a podium even. But let's take a look right now. It looks like Justin Hooley is currently sitting in P11. We know we have fans for him in the field. He's currently sitting right behind July Stewart, who we know has damage. Stewart might try to do like an early pit stop at an hour mark. We've got a car off in the background of Samir Futch. Took a very wide line through turn 1. But back to Hooley right now. He's currently closing in on July Stewart, heading up the mountain into quarry now. Very close, but not close enough to make a move. Sorp's looking a little slow compared to what we saw in qualifying. So we'll keep an eye on that for now. Yes, Richie's definitely disappointed that we don't get to see you race today. There's a handful of drivers who are not able to race or chose not to race today. Don't know what the reasoning was for everyone, but that's okay. We hope to see you back in 2 weeks. But back to the action on the track now. I managed to lose my one piece of paper that has the driver nationalities on it. There we go. It was underneath my chair. So, but Hooley is all in the rear end of Sorp right now as they go into the S's. Will he try and make a move, possibly into the Dipper? He's looking very quick behind the Mercedes. The Spanish driver up ahead. Or sorry, no, the Portuguese driver. No, the Moldovan. Sorry, jeez, that's a horrible mistake. He's looking very quick compared to the Moldovan ahead. but Sorp was able to get a good run into the dipper. You can see a little bit of front end damage on Sorp, which is not surprised because he took a lick into the wall. But Hooley now on the rear bumper of Sorp. Can he gain those 2, maybe 3 car lengths he needs to possibly make a late braking move into the chase? Now we got to remember that the braking boards have been taking out, but it looks like Hooley's got the run that he needs. He's going to go up the inside of Sorp and have the move done before turn in. What a move by Justin Hooley. He's up into P10 now. He is on the charge through the field. I don't believe Sorp has an answer due to the damage. Right now, it looks like the Moldovan's doing a little bit of damage control, but we'll have to keep an eye on that for now. Another guy who's risen up through the fields, Alexander Irish, up into P9. We talked about him earlier on. He had some good races earlier on, but struggled recently. Now he's up into 9th position and in single digits, so he's having a good race as well. Sir Williams off the track in the background in his McLaren. Not taking the great line you want through turn 1, through Hell Corner, which surprisingly did not give drivers on Hell. Or give drivers hell at the start of the race. Oh, we got to look like a move. Andy Vandervelde trying to go to the inside of July Sorp into Quarry. Sorp kind of just like a roadblock right now on the track because his pace is lacking due to that damage. But Andy Vandervelde trying to go for the move. May have left the door open for Tobias Gerhardt, who's all on the back of Vandervelde. So Vandervelde's got to be careful when he decides to make the move. He's got a better exit, though, out of the cutting. Will he try to make a move into Griffin's mount? Yes, he will. He will go around the outside, and so will Tobias Gerhardt. The two of them will make a double overtake on Sorp, who's very slow on the mountain. Now Sir Williams on the back end of July Sorp. Will he try to go to make a move into Solomon Park and into McPhillamy Park right now? He's not close enough. I don't think he's going to try to make a move into Skyline, as that would just be ludicrous if he could pull that off. But in Tier 2, as Tobias Gerhardt's into the wall, into the S's, and he makes contact with July Sorp, and then into Sir Williams as well. July Sorp is round. Tobias Gerhardt making the mistake, ended up being very costly to Sorp, who's now facing the wrong direction on the mountain right now. And Sorp, as looks like Sorp has just abandoned the race and has retired from the session. The day has gone horribly as Sorp has conceded from the race. John Sebastian Castaneda has also been facing the wrong way in the dipper right now. He's got heavy damage on his car as he's currently sitting in 28th. He was not having a good race before, and now it's really gone horribly right now. But Sorp has retired from the race as we are down to now to 28 cars. Actually, no, I don't think Sorp returned to the pits. I'm pretty sure Sorp did return to the pits. It was not a retirement. That was weird. I was on Sorp and then it just changed people, so I do apologize, but Sorp is still racing. But after that heavy collision, Sorp is just, his day's gone horribly once again, and not what the Moldovan wanted to see today. We're looking back up towards the front now. As Vandervelde come into the pits. Sorry, not Vandervelde, Tobias Gerhardt, who we saw start that little bit of a chain reaction there. He's still on track right now. Running in P12, he's got Samir Fudge behind him. But Gerhardt's got a decent amount of damage as he just kind of ping-balled down Skyline and into the S's. Not the run that not the ideal line you ever want to take through the track. And now he's going to have Samir Fudge for company. Fudge looking mighty quick compared to the damaged Gerhardt. So the Audi's going to have to get a move on, otherwise he might be overtaken in a similar fashion to what he did to Sorp on the previous lap. So keep an eye on that for now. Jay Fang, Chinese driver, up into 14th. He's having a really good race so far. He might give us a nice onboard of the battle ahead of Fudge and Gerhardt. Gerhardt looking very understeering, smacks the wall at John Hicksman Vista. Now in McPhillamy Park, will Fudge go for the move into Skyline and into the S's now? No, he thinks better of it. Now Fang giving us this very good POV. Fang taking a little bit of a wide line through the first part of the S's, but now as he goes through the rest of it, he's still getting a little bit dirty there. Not too much though for Fudge, as these cars do not generate that much dirty air. Ooh, losing the rear end a little bit into the dipper. Fang barely holding on to the car. Now into forced elbow. Can he get a good enough run on Fudge to even also make a move on Gerhardt? We'll have to see, but Fudge is getting a pretty good run now on Gerhardt. He's gaining a lot down the Conrad straight, but it doesn't look like he's gaining too much. Oh, here we go. Back on the downhill bit. He's going to go for the inside move in the first part of the chase, but he goes off the throttle now into the braking zone where there are no more brake boards because it got taken out. And Gerhardt will hold on to the position after Fudge broke a little early and decided that it was not worth going for the move just yet, as Gerhardt dives into the pit. So that is a free position for Fudge, and he is up into P12 now. So take a look at our front runners. Not much has changed towards the front. Florian Bauer still miles ahead of the field right now. Looks like he doesn't have any more damage. Hopefully he's driving a little bit more stable. He's averaging 201s right now. He's keeps a pretty good pace. He got 8/10 that lap. No, excuse me. 9/10 that last lap on Chris Jones. Has now increased his lead to 10.2 seconds, but we still got 66 minutes left to go. So, not to quote a song, but anything can happen. Frank Petrazzi. You can't add the NI on the series name. Oh, it's Frank Petrazzini. Petrazzini. I'm sorry. I do apologize. It's Frank Petrazzini. So I've been messing that up for the previous 3.5 races. So I do apologize to Frank. So Petrazzini is currently in P16 right now. Don't think he's battling anyone. Now he's kind of just stuck in a little bit of a train right now that's led by Dakuza and then the infamous Shooter. Now I told Shooter, I gave him a little bit of a quote before the race that I don't want to see him scoot into the wall when he sees Skylines. So right now he's going to survive this time through, but he's behind his fellow coordinator, and neither car has damage, so hopefully they can keep it that way going forward. As we carry on right now, I believe we're on lap 11 right now. About to start lap 12 as Bauer comes across the line. And we've seen plenty of action so far, but much more still to come. Looking through the Neri Conjuglu's down in 18th. Hasn't really made much progress through the field just yet. He's currently following Sir Williams, the American, down in 17th. Got Chen behind him. Can Neri Conjuglu make a move into the chase? He's gaining a lot on Sir Williams. Will he go for the inside move into turn 21 in the chase? No. He will hold position, but we do have a slow car ahead, the number 11 car of Mario Marin. Very slow as he lets through the leading traffic right now. July Storm is still in the pits right now. I think still had to deal with the towing penalty and damage. So Storm down in P28 out of 29, because that's all we have running right now. So we've lost 4 drivers so far. The Mountain taking no prisoners. So, but we got a huge queue of cars right now, about close to 10 cars. We've got a lap car or two in the mix, as you can see, as Takuza still leading that little bit of a queue. He's got Jay Fang not too far up the road, who is behind Samir Foch. But we got this little bit of a queue behind. So Sir Williams, yes, he's still holding up Neri Conjuglu. This is just Pablo Jarzmakovsky. It says at P17, but that's not true. So I guess the Polish driver has retired as well. So I'll just keep an eye on that. So he's one of our retirements right now. Frank Petrazzini up into 16th now, followed by Sir Williams in P17. Not much going on towards the front. Looks like we have a close gap between Alex Torregrossa and Connor Wright, actually. Sorry, not Nico, but Connor Wright. It's pretty close to the Mercedes behind. Not sure what just happened with that little bit of noise there. It gave me a little bit of a wall smashing sound. Hopefully no one did just smack the wall. Fingers crossed. But that's 12 laps into it. As Torregrossa is pulling away from Wright. So looking at Wright's running a lot of downforce on the Aston Martin. FV8 is not giving him enough straight line speed to close up to Torregrossa up ahead, even with the slipstream. But if you can get a little bit of a better run on the mountain, that might be able to change. Yes. So if you're looking at it right now, if we look at that mini map in the bottom right. Actually, let's see if we can make that a little bigger for us. Let's see if I can click on the field. Yes, let's look at the track map right now. Pull that up light. So we've got a pretty big cluster here. Pretty big cluster down the order now. Starting from the number 8 car of Samir Foch in 11th, and then all the way down to the 6-5 Chen and Pasquale Di Lucia. So Mario Marin is off the track once again. But then we got the cars start to space out to go towards the front. So it's looking like the mountain has hurt some drivers' races and others not as much. So Neri Conjuglu is actually into the pits. Not sure if they have any damage. We'll have to go see if he took any damage or if it's just an early pit stop. Looks like it's just an early pit stop. He was kind of stuck. I mean, there's a little bit of side damage, like a little bit scraping the wall a tab. But Conjuglu now into the pits, looking to get a nice undercut on that huge queue of cars that he was behind previously. Also, one thing to note, Swoop, who has not officially started pit stop, is back on the track right now. I'm not sure if he's on the same lap as Castaneda, but he will still have to come into the pits. So, but it's good to see Swarp back racing now. And hey, at least 28th will give 1 or 2 points, and that's better than nothing. And you don't know what happens. More drivers drop out. That's more free points for Sorp, because we're down to 28 drivers now, as there are now 5 drivers down on the race. We do not have Adam Dubiel. We do not have Mateusz Kazicek. We do not have Dennis Last. We do not have Mario Marin, who just retired, and we do not have Paweł Jarzmakowski. So those are our current 5 retirements right now. Hopefully we do not get any more, but the mountain takes no prisoners. Speaking of prisoners, Florian Bauer is currently closing up on Neri Conjugate, who just left the pits. He's currently battling Tobias Gerhardt. That is for P22 right now. The two of them going side by side into Quarry. Conjugate, who just came out of the pits, looking to stay ahead of Gerhardt right now, but they're going to go side by side, and Conjugate is going to keep a car length ahead. No, but Gerhardt gets the better run as Conjugate goes too wide out of Quarry, and now into the cutting. Gerhardt will have the position. So Conjugate is going to need to make that move stick if he wants to make the undercut work. Because as right now, Gerhardt made the undercut work on him after Gerhardt was a little farther up, even though Gerhardt was a little farther up the road, but he did have damage. So, Gerhardt, whose previous lap was a 2:03.5, not record-setting pace. The likes of Takuza was working at about the same pace, so Conjugate is going to have to pick up the pace a little bit if he wants to make that undercut work. But he does have to be careful because he's got the race leader, Florian Bauer, in the rearview mirror. Bauer, who's currently got a 13-second lead now over the rest of the field, has to be careful with this lap traffic. Behind him, though, we do have a battle for second place. Raher has finally caught up to Chris Jones, slowly but steadily. Yes, Raher does have a little bit of front splitter damage, as he's now on the rear bumper of Jones, going through the S's now. Will Raher try to make a move into the chase? It's probably his best overtaking spot, even if Jones looks a little slow through the S's. You still don't want to risk it because you don't want to go airborne into the dipper. But now, Raher all on the back end of Jones, going down the long Conrad straight. He's going to swing to the left-hand side. He's going to try to make the move stick around the outside, which will then become the inside line of the chase. Raher now side by side with Jones. Will he have the position before the main part of the chase? Now he has the position, and Raher has recovered after having his little bit of an incident and is up into second position now. He is overtaking Chris Jones and is going up the field now. We have a car into the pits. It's the number 13 car of Gillian Hardenberg. He's looking, I think he's in the pits a second time. He must have received some damage. That is unfortunate to see. But Tom Raher up into second position with a nice overtake around Chris Jones. Another battle we want to keep an eye on that we were watching before was Nuri Conjuglu, who is still stuck behind Tobias Gerhardt. And now they both have Bauer behind, so Conjuglu, I think, is yielding to Bauer now. Yes, Conjuglu is yielding to Bauer now. He might use the blue flags to his advantage. If he can just stick all in the rear bumper of Bauer, he should be able to make the move work if the blue flags work in his favor. So keep an eye on this battle for now. We also do know that looks a little farther down the road, Chris Jones is sticking with Tom Raher, but I don't believe he'll go for a move just yet. Actually, Chris Jones on the rear bumper right here, and that has brought back, their battle has brought back in James Calley back into the fray. So Calley looking to make it a three-way battle for second place, assuming he can match assuming the three of them can match the pace of Raher, who showed some very promising beginning of the race pace. For now, they'll hold position now as they go through Skyline and into the S's. Looking through the field now, it looks like a little bit of a gap. So Samir Futch has gaps, Jay Feng a little bit, but Shooter is all on the bumper still of Takuza. So this is that little bit of a train that we were talking about. The Neri's trying to undercut, and he's going to have to be careful with that. Now, another thing, Pasquale Dilucia is currently into the pits now. Keep an eye on where he comes out, because where he comes out may affect that battle that we were watching before between Tobias Gerhardt and Neri Conjuglu. So as it looks like currently in the pits, it looks like Gerhardt and Conjuglu will not be affected by the car in the pits, but we keep an eye on Shooter now as he goes into the dipper and now into Forest Elbow. Well, take a look at Florian Bauer's POV. So he's got the lap track around as Pasquale Dilucia filters out behind Neri Conjuglu, and will be third in the queue. Florian Bauer hoping that Gerhardt yields. Yes, there he's flashing it now because they're on it straight, and it makes the most sense to yield now and rather than doing it on the mountain. Bauer wants these guys to move out of the way because if they make a mistake, it could hurt his race horribly. Gerhardt getting the blue flags, has not yielded yet. Bauer's like about a half a second behind. Now it's a lot closer. So he's definitely getting held up by dirty air and would want the Audi to move out of his way so he can carry on with his race in clean air. Not sure when Bauer will come into the pits. We'll keep an eye on that. But behind Bauer in the battle for third place, James Calley has now caught up to Chris Jones. Calley's got a lot of side damage on the right hand side. Looks like he's flicked the wall a few times in John Hicksman Vista. But if he can keep it out of the wall, and he might be able to make the move stick on Jones based off of his current pace. But this is the battle for third. Right now, the last podium position as Ray here starts to drive off into the distance. Another thing to note, Jay Fang, the Chinese driver who was also in that queue, or actually no, he was ahead of the queue, excuse me, is into the pit. So let's see where he comes out into retrospective Florian Bauer and Tobias Gerhardt. Last lap, Bauer did a 2:02.5, which was faster than the pace of that queue. And if Neri Conjuglu and Tobias Gerhardt are lapping similar, as Gerhardt moves out of the way now, he's still keeping Conjuglu behind because he gets a good enough run out of the corner. But if Jay Fang might be a threat for a slight undercut here, so keep an eye on it now. Fang currently still stopped in the pits, but he's as one of the very last pit stalls, so keep an eye on when he gets going. Take a look from the heli cam. We'll see the cars come into the hell corner now. Fang is still stopped, so he must have had a little bit of extra damage. He has been seriously undercut by the likes of Gerhardt, Conjuglu, and De Lucia. Yes, he starts getting going now. De Lucia, who's at the back of the queue, will have a move done on him as well. So Fang will get out with plenty of air to gap to Ray here, but Ray here has been looking pretty quick, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. But in the back to the battle for third position now, Cowley. Still really close to the Lamborghini of Chris Jones, but not really close enough to make the overtake. That Lambo is getting some very good acceleration off the corners and has a fast and a good enough top speed to keep Alexis behind. But if you didn't just see in the background of the camera, Ole Pitschitz, our ever-consistent driver, is lurking in the background in P5. He's not really been battling up like with the pair of guys just yet, but you know, being only like 4 seconds behind means he is ready to pounce in the event of any of these drivers up ahead making a mistake, so he cannot be counted out for a potential podium. So, and then behind Pitches, we have Connor Wright, who's kind of on his own. He got around Nico Ole. He's got a second to him, and behind Ole is Alex Torregrossa. Ole almost licks the wall there. Not a place where you want to look at the wall in the Griffin's mount. And now going to Frog Hollow and Solomon Park and into John Hicksman Vista, now McPhillamy Park. He's got a very nice livery to that car. I believe that was one of the Sheep Racing. What was their team? Ninja Sheep Racing, I believe. Yes, he's part of Ninja Sheep Racing. So that livery is it's a very interesting livery, I must say. I do like it very much. So good job to him and to Kuza for making that livery work. The Bentley's looking pretty good around the track right now. But he's got Alex Torregrossa and Alexander Irish behind him. So look at interesting. As we got a car off the track, it's the number 34 car. After the chase, that is Tobias Gerhardt, who's in the grass right now. He must have made some kind of mistake. I don't think there's any damage under Conjuglu. I think he just broke too late and went creating off. Yeah, Conjuglu has no front end damage. He's now under threat from Pasquale Di Lucia. So it looks like Gerhardt kind of just made a mistake on his own there. He's now a little bit down the order. Down to 23. He's behind Jay Fang now. Andrade is 2 laps down behind. So he's not really much of a threat. So Gerhardt can't really drop down the order anymore, but that will hurt his chances of any kind of undercut on some of the drivers who have not pitted just yet. So that will make things interesting. But back to that little bit of a cluster now, a little bit farther up. So it's Connor Wright, followed by Nico Ole, and Alex Torregrossa is getting a very good run on Ole now. Will he try to make the move into Quarry? He's going to go to the left-hand side of the track. He's got a lot of overspeed now, but the outside line hasn't really been the great line for Quarry. And as we can see here, Torregrossa goes way too wide. He gets a little bit of loose. Now Alexander Irish looking to capitalize on Torregrossa getting loose, and Irish will have the position. So Torregrossa, who is looking to improve on his position, has now lost one instead. So that outside line into Quarry does not look like the move at all. So if you can get the inside line into it, that's what you want to do. As Torregrossa licks the wall into Griffin's mouth, and is going to lose more time to Irish up ahead. But yes, that outside line into Quarry has not worked for anyone today that we have seen on stream. So it does not look like the wave, as some of the cool kids say. So Torgrosa down to 9th, but Irish now is all on the rear end of Nicole. Nicole kind of looking like a roadblock right now. He's now kind of right. He's got 2 seconds to him. Irish taking a wide entry to hopefully get a fast exit at the dipper, but he loses the rear end a little bit. Might have taken a little bit of a lick into the wall. We got a car looking very slow behind. That wasn't Hooley. That was that Andy Vet. No, that is, I believe that is a lapped car. No, it's not John Sebastian Castaneda. I believe that was Gillian Hardenberg, who just took another lick into the wall. Both of those Ferraris are having horrible days, as we are now down to 28 cars on the grid. But back to that battle we were just watching. Alexander Irish still on the rear end of Nico. Oh, he needs to get around the Bentley if he wants to have a shot of running down Connor Wright. He's starting to gap the two of them. He's got 2 seconds now, 2.2, so he gained half a second over the course of that second half of that lap. So as you see some cars leaving the pits now. That's Rhea Aubry. And is there a second car leaving the pits? Yes, there is. I believe that's John Sebastian Castaneda, both leaving the pits. Lap traffic. Neither of them are in battles with each other, but Rhea Aubry is now currently behind Yuri Conjugu. And so he'll be looking to catch up to some of the cars ahead. But Alexander Irish, meanwhile, currently filling up the rear view mirrors of Nico Hull in this battle for 7th position, where the Bentley has literally been a boat blocking the road so far. So we'll look through. Well, we know Dakuza was holding up a field, and it looks like Sir Williams made his way around Shooter. Yes, he has. Dakuza, the other Bentley, acting like a little bit of a boat, has Sir Williams for coming behind. And Sir Williams has split the two coordinators now, and is up to P14 before the pit stops. Frank Pedrosini now into 16th, and Chen close behind in 17th. So we got a nice 5-car train here following P13, which is trying to be undercut by the likes of Mary Conjugu and Pasquale Di Lucia. But Di Lucia is actually back into the pits. Not sure if he has any damage. Let's see if we can get a front view of that car, maybe. No, we're not really getting a better POV right now. So that is unfortunate to see. If we go on board, now it doesn't look like we got any front end or rear end damage to that Ferrari. So not sure what happened there, but Di Lucia is going to drop down the order. Hardenberg also into pits as well and has retired from the session, so that is another retirement to add to the list of victims of the mountain. Alan Rake, meanwhile, in 25th, has not retired, but he has fallen down the order as well in his Ferrari. But he is still going with 48 minutes to go. No one up front has pitted just yet. Current race leader Florian Bauer has got 15 seconds to Tom Ray here. The two buddies who started out with Ray here up ahead in this race. He had a 5-second gap and lost it all in the opening stages of the race. I'm not sure if we can look at what happened. I kind of am curious right now. Let's see if we can go into the replay file. Perhaps we can see what happened to him at the start, because I am somewhat curious. So we'll take a look into the broadcasting camera right now. So yeah, so we're going to scroll ahead. All right, so we're going to go, let's go up to Ray here. It was like on lap 4, so he's still gapped, He's still ahead. Still ahead. There he was. There's the incident. All right. So we're gonna let's see if we can ride on board with him. Yes, there we go. So that'll do. This will do it. So this is why Ray here has been struggling a little bit. So if we're gonna we'll get this camera here. We'll go for the camera angle. So going now into McPhillamy Park. This was, again, only lap 5. He completely lost the rear end, similar to what Bauer did, but rather than catching it, right here smacked the wall. So he's got a decent amount of front end damage, which would explain his drop of pace. So maybe on the second sit, if he's able to come into the pit soon and repair that damage, yes, he will have a decent amount of repair time, but right here should have a little bit of damage as well. So if the two of them repair the cars right here, might try to run down his mate right now and try to make a battle towards the end of the race, assuming both of them can keep it out of the wall. That is a tall order, as the two German drivers are being asked of. So, as now, Florian Bauer, race leaders, into the pits. He's our first First driver who is in the top 10 battling into the pits is Alexander Irish. Actually has made the move on Nico Ohl. Actually, Nico Ohl dropping down the order. Oh, he's been in a collision in the S's. Looks like behind him as well, Jay Fang as well. Let's even get a little bit of a replay on that. We're going to go 30 seconds behind. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like, oh, that's what happened. Alex Torregrossa had spun. Nico Ohl looks like was caught up in the incident as well. Fang had spun as well. See if we can rewind it maybe a little more. Not sure. But there was a huge incident while we were taking a look at what happened right here up towards the front. There was a huge carnage in the back end involving several of the drivers up towards the front of the field. And that explains what happened there. Callie's also into the pits as well, as we can see as the replay ends. So 2 of the top 4 drivers into the pits now, and we'll drop down the order as Tom right here retakes the lead due to his fellow countryman pitting. But Bauer now, who's leaving the pits, actually hasn't lost that many positions. Shouldn't drop too far down the order, and he's coming out with a nice amount of clean air. But who will lose a lot of positions? Sir Williams into the pits. I don't think he had any damage. It looks like he got a little bit of, like, you know, a little bit of damage, but nothing too severe. Shooter into the pits. I'm not sure if he was caught up in that carnage. But they're also into the pits. Andy Vandervelde leaving his pit box now. Nico Ohl finally into the pits. Not sure if he returned to pit. No, he did not return to pits, thankfully. So his Bentley's in the pits, but he's going to have a decent amount of damage to repair as well. A lot of rear end damage there. So maybe I would want to take another look at that collision. Let's take a quick replay look again. See what happened to the Bentley driver there on the mountain. No, that's not the car we want to see. Let's go quickly. Alexander Irish. So we know that Irish was in that cluster of drivers. So Nico Ohl was driving. So what happened to him on the mountain? So he goes. Did he lose the rear end? No. So as he goes down. Oh, yes, he does. He lost the rear end into the S's, smacked the wall. That explains the rear end damage. Then Alex Torregrossa was unable to avoid him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what caused that collision and has dropped Nico Ohl down the order. So the mountain has taken, once again, another prisoner today. But now, Tom Rayer's in the pits right now. Where will he come out in retrospect of Florian Bauer, who will retake the lead once the pits are done? Bauer, who is currently on the mountain right now. Is that front end damage to Bauer that we missed? It looks like it. Bauer smacked the wall. He's got heavy damage. What happened to him? Let's pull up the replay now. We're getting all replays left and right. Every time we see a replay, there it is. There's what happened, folks. He's another victim. Same exact accident that happened to Nico Ohl. And our former race leader has rear wing damage, heavy front end damage, and will most certainly have to return to the pits. Yeah, he's sliding everywhere. That opens up the door for James Cowley now. As our race leader, Florian Bauer. Oh, yeah, he smacked the wall once again towards the dipper. Gave himself even more damage. Almost collected the McLaren around him as well. As you can see, like the July Storm going around him. So, you know, it might be for the best. Yeah, see, he's had trouble turning that Mercedes around. There goes Cowley around him. As Cowley now sitting in a very good spot. There's Chris Jones as well. Another driver that's sitting in a very good spot, because we know Ray here is going to have a lot of time in the pits because of that damage. So if Jones and Cowley can keep it clean, they might have themselves a nice battle for the win, assuming they don't have any damage to their cars. But now as the replay should end any second now. There we have it. Ray here is actually 20 seconds ahead of Cowley. So I do stand. No, okay, so that hasn't updated. Ray here looks like he's behind Cowley. Hold on. My deltas need to update. So here we have Ray here. Here is Cowley. Okay, yeah, so Ray here got 20 seconds to Cowley. So Cowley might have had more damage than we thought. Now it'll be a matter of where does Chris Jones filter out. Connor Wright, not too far behind Cowley. So unless Ray here didn't change tires or something, might have just done damage or something. But the mountain is taking a lot of prisoners. Didn't take anyone at the start, but has taken a lot of prisoners during the races. Justin Hooley now into the pits. He is pitting from third position. He will drop down the order. Florian Bauer, former race leader. Oh, that is not Florian Bauer. Where'd he go? There he is. He is in the pits. He's going to be in the pits for a while, unfortunately, as he received heavy damage from that collision. Alexander Irish also into the pits. He's got a lot of damage to his McLaren as well. Tier 2 getting rocked by the mountain today. But right now, Chris Jones, right now, current race leader, he still has to pit. He's one of 5 drivers who has not yet pitted. Has currently been very good around the mountains so far today. He's been very fluid with his driving. And as a result, he might have himself a battle for the podium if he can just keep that Lamborghini going in a straight line. Not sure how the Lambo is when it comes to balance of performance around the track, but it's looking really good. I do know from experience the Lambo Cup car, not so good. But this car, looking very good so far, and we'll see what Jones can do. So we're over halfway through the race. Paolo Lima's into the pits as well. He's pitting from 8th. He was the one we saw almost get taken out by the spinning Florian Bauer. So glad to see he's not too damaged. So keep it on that. The track temperature has gone up 2 degrees Celsius. This is the start of the race as the track starts to get sunnier. So we'll have to keep an eye on the temperature as well. Currently in second position is Ole Pitschitz. He has not pitted either. One of 2 remaining drivers to not pit. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. He's only 3.5 seconds behind Chris Jones. So like I've been saying, he's been really consistent. As Chris Jones, is he into the pits? Jones is into the pits. All right. So our current race leader is into the pits. Where is Tom Ray here for reference? Ray here's already coming down the Conrad Straight. So I think there's a possibility that Ray here did not change tires or did not do any kind of damage repair, because it looks like he kind of just topped off on fuel considering his gap to Callie. Callie is in the pits right now. He was behind him. Did he get damage as well? I'm not too certain what happened to Callie, because he was behind him. So Callie might have had an issue on the mountain as well. I don't want to hit the replay button because it seems like there's loads of action that I keep missing every time I hit the replay button. So we're just going to let it go. But now Ray here will overtake Chris Jones. He's in the pits. Chris Jones, he's moving now, so he's not too far behind Ray here. And depending what he decided to change, if he changed tires, added some fuel, didn't repair damage, if he's got the pace, he might be able to run Rayer down if Rayer didn't change tires, who did a 2:03.2 last lap, which is almost 2 seconds slower than his previous best. So if Jones can get a move on, it's not over for him. But Jones will come out. He's going to come out in lap traffic. He's coming out ahead of Carter Wright by some margin. And it will come out in P3, which should be net P2 once Pitschitz pits. But Callie, not sure what happened to him. He's looking like he's repairing some damage. Or either that or he had a little bit of damage inside to toe. Not 100% what happened, but he is into the pits now. How many drivers do we have in the field? We are currently down to 25 drivers, so we have a few more retirements. Mario Marin, I believe I mentioned he retired. Gillian Hardenberg has retired, and Pasquale Di Lucia have all retired. So we are down to 25 out of 33 starting drivers today. A lot of prisoners. See, we got some cheering on for Hooley right now. Hooley, it looks like he's got Andy Vandervelde for company. He's going to have to close up 20 seconds on Chris Jones for the podium right now. Pitschitz does have a pit, but Pitschitz should come out not too far behind Jones. So he needs to get at least 14 seconds on the right. So it's definitely a tall order to ask, but if he can keep it clean, he can capitalize on any mistakes of drivers up ahead. D'Couza is actually up to 7th right now. He was battling down in double-digit positions, but now he's up to P7 and in the single digits. Another driver who's impressed me so far is Chen. He's up into P8 in the Lamborghini as well. The Lambo looking mighty quick around here. And an interesting fun fact about Chen, well, I wouldn't say this is a fun fact, but Chen only has 10 points to his name on the season. So out of all drivers that have scored points, he is listed as last place and is currently running in P8. The Chinese driver having a magnificent drive, the drive of the season so far for him. So if he can keep this up, he should be able to nab 51 points, which would be an insane accomplishment for him. In 9th place is Frank Pedrozzini. That's how you pronounce his last name. Got to remember that I-N in there. Frank Pedrozzini rounding out our single-digit positions. Behind him is the American of Sir Williams, also having a really good race. So some of these drivers who haven't had good races so far, just focusing on keeping it clean, not running too hard, and they're having some great results right now. As behind them is Shooter in the BMW, running in P11. Yuri Konjaglu, after having a rough start, down only in P12. got, looks like Florian Bauer behind, but Bauer is a lap down. So that is unfortunate, but Neri, who was brake driving with Bauer before, knows the pace of Bauer and may consider letting the lap car through. We'll have to wait and see. Samir Fuchs running in 13th, having himself a very good race right now. In 14th, Gerhardt, who went into the wall in the chase. Hopefully he does not repeat that again. But he's not doing too bad. Well, actually, no, he didn't go to the wall. He just spun off the track, so I don't think he got any damage because tires are struggling. Behind him, I believe, is Nico Ohl, but Nico Ohl did have to pit after that huge collision. 15th got Paulo Lima. 16th, the rookie driver, Reha Albi, who had a drive-through at the start of the race and has had a magnificent recovery up to 16th, so the Turkish driver having a wonderful race so far. In 17th right now, Alexander Irish. He dropped down the order. He was towards the front, but he had some kind of issue going on with him. In 18th, Marlon Andrade, who was battling for 5th position early on, but then he was the one who took out those brake boards going into the chase. We have a car just kicking up dust in turn 1. Couldn't tell if it was a car off track. But Andrade was looking pretty quick at the start. Up into 19th now. Alan Rake, he started really far down the order. By keeping it on track and going, he's up to 19th. Bauer, former race leader, down to 20. By first, Nico Ohl, 22nd. Alex Torgrosa has actually retired as well. I did not catch that. He was another retirement that we have had recently. So after he got caught up in that collision with Nico Ohl, he decided that enough was enough and he had retired the car. In 22nd, James Calley dropped down the order. He had a chance for a podium, but due to some collision that we saw that was off screen, he is down the order now. 23rd, Jay Fang, who was running pretty good, but got caught up in that big incident after Skyline and into the S's, down at 23rd. July Sorp into the pits once again, serving his mandatory pit stop after getting caught up in several incidents early on. He's down to 24th. And last but not least, John Sebastian Castaneda, who's still running to get points. So everyone who finishes will get points today. That's how it's looking like. Interesting enough, though, Ole Pitschich, still driving, has not pitted yet. Our current race leader. Curious to see what his strategy is right now. Will he try to not change tires? Because if he doesn't change tires, he might be able to contest Ray here up at the front. Ray here's got a 16-second gap to Jones. Hard to tell. Let's see. Jones' most recent lap was a 202.6. Ray here does a 203.3. So Jones is closing up 8-9 a lap on Ray here. But that's not enough because there's only enough time for at least 17 more laps. And a 16-second gap, that won't even catch him up to Ray here. So Jones is going to have to take a little bit more chunks out of Ray here, this gap, each lap, all the while keeping it out of the wall. So we'll keep an eye on the battle right now that are going on. But the cars are a little spread out. It's not a whole lot of current battling. I mean, it's kind of just been more of, let's see what's happening, like who's spinning at this time, which is, you know, never what you want to see. But this is Bathurst, like I said. It is the hardest track of the season. And it is tied for the longest race of the season. So normally we would be 3 minutes to go, but now we have 33 now. And so we'll have to keep an eye on how these last few minutes go. As we finish, let's see now. So Ray here did a 203.1 last lap. Jones did a 202.4. Ole Pitschich, who's our race leader, did a 203.4, so he's lapping still very quickly. But if he pits now and changes tires and whatnot, he should come out behind Jones. Behind Jones is Connor Wright, lapping at about the same pace as the Lamborghini. Hooley also lapping at the same pace as Connor Wright. So for those hoping for Hooley to get a podium, he's going to need to drive a little faster than 202.6. So we'll have to see. You know, he's not out of it. He's got Andrew Van der Velde running at the same pace. Behind them, Takuza in P7 doing a 203.5 last lap. He's not too far behind Hooley and Van der Velde. But not sure if he didn't change tires or whatnot. But Takuza with a very strong performance so far, running in P7. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind staying there. That would be his best result of the season. Chen in P8 doing a 203.1. So he's actually taking chunks out of Takuza. If he can keep up running 4/10 a lap faster, you know, well, he's actually 14 seconds now. I thought he was only 5. So he's going to need more time than that out of Takuza. Frank Pedrozzini lapping at a similar pace to Chen right now, so he's going to have to work on that a little bit if he wants to catch up to the Chinese driver ahead. But he also has to make sure he keeps down the wall, because he's only got Shooter 2.5 seconds behind. So that is what our top 10 is looking like for now. So I'm going to take a quick, couple second break. We'll just ride on board with Willie Pitchers. That way you might voice either. And then, I'll keep an eye on the screen, of course. So give me a couple seconds, and we'll be right back. While I took a quick sip of my tasty coffee, I happen to notice we have over 100 viewers, and I think it's the most we've gotten for a Tier 2 race so far this season. So thank you everyone for watching so far. We hope you guys continue to enjoy the action you're seeing today. And now as we go off board of our current race leader, Ole Pitschitz, who still has not pitted, but is lapping. He actually did a 2:02.5 last lap, which is 7/10 faster than right here, and matched the pace of Chris Jones. So Pitschitz, who's been very consistent all season, might have a chance at winning this race once he does come in and pits. If he doesn't change tires, he should come out around right here, and with the pace he's showing right now, he might be able to steal, a first place finish. And he would be our 4th different race winner this season. But right here behind him, our current championship leader, very much looking to add 2 notches to his belt. So, we'll have to wait and see. Does Pitschitz come into the pits this lap? No. Pitschitz stays out for yet another lap. So he's gone a whole hour on the same set of tires, not having to refuel just yet. He's done a very good job with the 2:02.9 last lap, which is still faster than what the pace right here is setting right now behind him. So 29 laps into the race, these guys are lapping very quickly around a very tricky track. So hats off to them for making as far as they have, and hopefully they continue this pace on. Chris Jones has not really closed the gap though on right here this lap. Still 14.7 seconds behind. He's going to need to take out a second every 2 minutes. That's a second every lap if he wants to even catch up to right here, let alone overtake him. And it's not looking like Jones will be able to steal second place today, but he's currently on track for his first podium of the season. And Jones looking to have his best result of the season. So this is wonderful driving by the Lamborghini driver. Connor Wright in 4th, who can sniff a podium right now, but if he doesn't pick up, he's running almost identical pace to Chris Jones ahead. So Chris Jones behind. Chris Jones ahead did a 2:02.619, while Wright, whose previous lap was a 2:02.607, did a 2:02.856. So 2/10 separating them is not enough if you want to catch up. Wright has shown to have quicker overall pace, where he's got a half-second faster lap on his best, but best doesn't matter if you can't match that each lap. So we'll have to just keep an eye on this. So far, looks like getting some blue flags. That is, who is out ahead? That is it's one of the McLarens that is down the order. Is that Alan Rake? Yes, it is. Oh no, it's Ferrari. Sorry, it looks similar to the McLaren. My bad, that we've seen. But the Ferrari of Alan Rake running in at 19th right now. Trying to get some nice points out of the day. And a nice finish as he licks the wall there. And John Hicksman Vista. That seems to be a very good spot for drivers to kiss the wall. I mean, I personally don't like kissing walls, but it seems like a lot of drivers do today. And that's okay, because Bathurst sucks. But now, back up towards the front, Ole Pitschitz has not pitted once again. So he has gone 30 laps and has not pitted. Impressive job. Very, very impressive job by the Swedish driver. So if he can keep this pace up, I don't think he can make it to the end on 1 tank of fuel. But he definitely has to pit. He has a required pit stop, so he has to come in. But he did a 2:03.2 last lap. Right here, who is in the final corner now. We'll see what kind of lap time he does when he crosses the line. He has done a 2:03.6, so Pitschitz is still gapping right here behind, but a lot less than the previous laps. And so apparently Chris Jones has damage on the front. That is hard to tell based off of what I'm seeing, but he is doing a lot of these drivers are doing a great job considering the damage. So that is great to hear that he's still doing his best. I mean, he did 2:02.4 that lap. So that's some fantastic stuff for the Welsh driver you know, to maintain that pace. He's faster than the top two right now. He did take out over a second that lap on Ray here. So apparently he was listening to what I said before. He got 1 second on that lap, but he's going to need to continue that for the next 26 minutes. Is that doable? I don't know, because Ray here has shown to have some very good ultimate pace, but we don't believe that Ray here changed tires, so he might drop off towards the end of the race. So we'll have to wait and see as Jones carves out another half second through the first sector. Not sure if Ray here made a mistake or something, but Jones is currently flying right now and hopefully continues this pace up. Now, is there any other battles through the order? It looks like Alexander Irish was close behind Rhea Aubie. Yes, they are pretty close to each other right now. The Turkish driver just ahead. I don't believe Irish lost the position. I believe Irish was closer on the mountain, but that Aston Martin got a very good run out of the Dipper and Forest Elbow. And now through the chase, there's a 1.1 second gap between the two drivers. Our debutant driver currently running in 16th. Nice to see the Turkish driver do very well today. Now only 4.2 seconds off of P15. So a very strong performance so far. Looks to continue. James Calley is into the pits once again. Not what you ever want to see. His day's just gone downhill. Maybe he'll try to see if he can get the fastest lap of the race. I don't know. I think it'll just be for, you know, for bragging rights at this point. But back up towards the front now. Tom Ray here with a 2:03.4 last lap. Ole Pitchich did a 2:03.1. Pitchich still gapping by a few tenths, but Ray here still keeping up the pace now behind. Chris Jones coming across the line. That's a 2:02.7. So that's another 7 tenths out of the Ferrari head. He's only 12.8 behind, so he's catching. He's catching Ray here right now. But question is, will it be enough? So we'll have to wait and see. How can I join a team for this type of racing? So yeah, this league is designed for solo racing, but we do AOR does host endurance races, I'd say once every 2 or 3 months. I mean, right now we're in the midst of a big GT3 season, so there's not one coming up soon, but there might be one coming up, you know, in the coming month or two. And those races are like a lot longer than 90 minutes. They'll be like at least 6 hours, 6 to 12 hours, depending on the event. The last one, I believe, was the 12 hours of Spa. I personally did not take part in it, but it looked like it was very fun. And so, yeah, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can go on the forums. So I believe the link is continually posted by the Autobot, the Automod. And you can go on the forums and go to the endurance events and just keep an eye out for something to pop up. So yes, that is how you go about team events. Ole Pitchich, our race leader, is now into the pits. Let's keep an eye on how long he stopped for. He stopped now. I'm going to time this. We're going to have to add like 3 seconds, maybe now 5 seconds because I'm really slow. We'll see if he decides to change tires. Keep an eye on his dot on the mini-maps when he decides to start moving. Tom Ray here now, currently going into the chase right now, so he's not too far behind. Pitchich is underway. He is not changing tires. That was an under 30-second pit stop. It was probably like a 20-second pit stop, and Pitchich should come out ahead of Ray here. So Ray here now going through Murray's corner and now across the line. I think he realizes that Pitchich is leaving the pits right now, and Pitchich is going to have to get a very good launch out of the pits. He's leaving the pits now. There's Ray here coming out of the final corner. Actually, Ray here will have the move on Ole Pitchich. Ole Pitchich is going to get the draft and the slipstream on the current race leader. It's right on board. He's not close enough to make the move into Quarry. But now, Pitchich, what kind of pace do these drivers have on identical tires? Neither of them changing tires and are going to try to go to the end of the race. Pitchich showed faster times, but on lower fuel. But now, they're probably running on similar fuel loads, same tire wear length. So I'll have to see how these guys do on an equal playing field now. But the battle for the lead is on, and Chris Jones is now only 11 seconds behind the pair of them. So Jones is catching up to these guys as he took a second out of Ray on the last lap. Connor Wright is not too far behind as well. He's got 5 seconds to Jones, but he was even faster than Jones on the previous lap. So the battle for the lead now, currently a 2-car battle, but could very easily become a 3 or 4-car battle, especially if these guys start battling at the front. And you can go ahead and sign up on the AOR forums. There is a link to the, I believe it's like a beta variant of the forums that keeps a compilation of the standings and all that automatically. There's a link to that on the forums, and if you hit that link, you will be able to go to the info sign up and be able to be placed in a tier and get to racing. But yes, back to the action on track. Right here is pulled a half a second on the mountain to Pitchich. Does Pitchich have less downforce, and can he catch up into the chase? And by the time we go through Murray's corner and across the line, hard to tell, but Jones has carved out 8/10 on the mountain to Pitchich. He is flying right now. Chris Jones, we're going to have to keep an eye on him in the background. Now Pitchich coming through Murray's corner. Behind right here is 1.1 behind, so he does not lose any time going down the Conrad Straight and through the chase. It's all on the mountain. That's where Pitchich is going to have to make it happen. If he can stay with right here on the mountain and get close enough, he might be able to get that slipstream needed. That doesn't look like Pitchich has any damage. Right here certainly does. So the German driver ahead, looking to hang on for his second win of the season, while Pitchich is trying to get his first, with 21 minutes to go. In the PS4 League, the info and sign up, I don't know if it's the same link. Someone in chat, if they know, might be able to link you a little better. Not 100% on the PS4 League, so I do apologize to that. So yeah. Anyways, Chris Jones now 10 seconds behind exactly, kind of right. 4.8 farther behind. The two of them lapping very fast right now. They took Chris Jones took half a second out of Ray here. Wright took almost a second out that last lap. Pitchich, whose last lap was an out lap. He's getting his tires up to temp now. Well, back up to 10 as they did cool off in the pits. So that could be part of his issue right now. But once his tires are back up, fully up to temperature, can he attack right here? You know, in that blue and a yellow lime green Ferrari. I mean, I like the color. I like the color, that's for sure. It's a very vibrant Ferrari currently leading the field right now. Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo is what he is in. The only non-Evo in the field is Alan Rake, who's down in 19th. That's right here, gets another 10th on the mountain on Pitchich. So Pitchich not catching up right now. Jones gets 4/10 on the mountain, only 4/10 this time, not the 8/10 he got the previous lap. But Jones not closing up enough at the moment to pressure these guys. Down in 5th, we got Justin Hooley right now. He's gapped Andy Vandervelde, who was a little farther, or a little closer last time we took a look at him. Hooley having his best race of the season, currently running in 5th. Looking to make even more grounds up on the championship. And Vandervelde in 6th place. Another guy who's having one of his best results of the season as well, as he is currently looking to fully survive the mountain. Down in 7th, we got Kuzo, who's running in VR, so hats off to him. Pulling off a miraculous drive so far as well. I'm going to go ahead and switch up real fast on something. Go to make sure I'm in the commentary box, because I personally do have access to commentary box, so the drivers do for post-race interviews, making sure the drivers do know that they are aware that come post-race, there will be interviews. So, Chris Jones right now is only 9.5 behind. He hasn't really gained much this previous lap. He did 202.5 compared to Ray here's 202.9. Only pitches is 203.1. So Jones is running really fast right now, but he's going to need to run a little faster still. But up towards the front, let's take a look at Pitchich right now. It's right on board with him as he goes down the hill in that Aston Martin V8, which is loud and proud at the front right now. He sees the race win in his sights, but it doesn't look like he's able to just close up enough so far on that Ferrari. He's kind of just, it looks like he's a tad out of slipstream right now. So if Pitchich can get in the slipstream, he might be able to get a little bit closer of the gap. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, he's closed up 2/10 on the mountain. So Pitchich currently getting a better mountain run than Ray here, but does he get a good run through the chase and through Murray's corner? And can he continue to close the gap on the German ahead? All he needs to do is just really get into that slipstream. And he can let that slipstream pull him up enough so they can just ride up behind him on the mountain and possibly make the move now. But with 17 minutes to go, if my math is correct, there should be about 9 laps left. Yeah, should be about 9 laps left of this race. So done 35. going to do about 44. So hopefully these guys got enough fuel, as we saw the likes of Richie B run out of fuel last race, unfortunately. But on that last lap, right here did a 203.3, Piszczek at 203.1, Jones at 202.9, and Connor Wright at 202.4. So Wright pulled out half a second on Jones. Jones only able to pull out 0.2 on Piszczek, who's starting to look a little fast now, as he's starting to inch closer to right here for that race victory. It looks like he's getting that. He's got game on right now in the Aston Martin, but he loses a 10th in the first sector. And now it's where it matters. Now that they're on the mountain, going through Griffin's Mount and through Reed Park as well, and into Frog Hollow, and then into Solomon Park. And then hopefully not touching the wall of John Hicksman Vista, and then McPhillamy Park now, where they want to make sure they keep the rear end stable and not smack the wall like Ray did before. Now into Skyline, where there's the blinding sun right, and into the S's now, where it's nice, tight, and twisty, where you need to carry all the speed possible. And now as they get towards the bottom of the S's and into the Dipper, where if you're not careful, you will go airborne. I might have done that myself on my own time. Now through the Dipper and into Forest Elbow and onto the Conrad straight. Does Piszczek improve his gap, or does it get bigger? Or sorry, does Rayer improve the gap, or does it shrink? Piszczek crosses the timing board. He loses another 0.2 to Rayer. So the German driver ahead, getting a better run through the mountain this lap. Behind them, Chris Jones, 8.8 behind. So he's carved out a decent amount of time this lap. He was 9.5 previously. He's 8.8 now. So he's catching, but he needs the two cars ahead to battle. He needs Piszczek to catch up to Rayer in the battle if he wants a chance at winning this race. Connor right behind is now only 3.9. So while Jones needs to keep up his pace to catch up to the front two, he needs to keep up the pace to hold back Wright, because Jones did a 202.6 last lap. Wright did a 202.1. So some pretty quick lap times by our race top four right now. Behind them, Justin Hooley's previous lap was a 202.8, and now as he comes through Murray's corner and across the start finish line now, he does a 203.1. So he's fallen off a little bit from the front guys, but he's holding on to P5 right now. If he holds position, fantastic job for Hooley. There's not much battling going on. We got Alexander Irish, by the looks of it, is pretty close to Tobias Gerhardt. We saw Gerhardt succumb to pressure earlier on. Actually, that is not Gerhardt ahead. Gerhardt's got a little farther ahead. So Irish looks like he smacked the wall on the mountain. Maybe let's get a little bit of a replay here. Let's go to the last 30 seconds. He was behind Gerhardt going into the mountain, as you can see here. Now then into Skyline. Does he just lock up into the S's? Yes, he does. Locks up in the S's, smacks the one wall, paintballs into the other, loses time to Gerhardt, and that looks like that's his opportunity done and dusted at taking over Gerhardt, as that is a lot of damage on the front of his McLaren, who the German driver did not want that to happen. But 16th is still not a bad position. He might be able to hang on to the end of the race. We'll keep an eye on him as well. But now let's go back towards the battle of the front. Piszczek now 1.8 behind right here. He's starting to fall off a little bit. Chris Jones only 8 seconds behind, so he's gotten 0.8 out of the Swedish driver ahead. But right now, Rayer's looking like he's the class of the field once again. Not that it's dominating, but he pulled the strategy call, but he's making it work with that front end damage. We saw him smack the wall earlier on in this race, coming out of McPhillamy Park. But he's carried on, and he's lapping at a faster pace than Piszczek. Now, Rayer did a 203 flat, Piszczek a 203.3, Chris Jones a 202.4, and then Wright a 202.3. So I'll keep you guys updated on the deltas right now. Yeah, Spinota is definitely to blame for some things. That's for sure. So, Wright, yes, Wright is very aggressive with his overtakes. He brings us some interesting action. But right now, he's only gaining 1 to 4 tenths a lap on Jones. And with arguably 7 laps to go, well, now 6 laps and 2/3 sectors. Right? He's not gaining fast enough to catch up to Jones. If anything, Jones has a better chance of catching up to Ole Piszczek than Wright does to Jones. So we'll keep an eye on these 4 cars. It might get spicy these last few laps, come down as the tires start to fall off on the likes of Rayer and Piszczek. So keep an eye on it, but for now, it's not looking likely as Wright loses a 10th there in the first sector on Jones. So now as Jones goes through John Hicksman Vista, and now into McPhillamy Park and into Skyline. A very beautiful view there of the Australian skyline. Now it's pretty hot right now. It's 24°C. I mean, not too hot though, so could be a lot worse if it was in the middle of the day, but the race is taking place in, it looks like, the early morning hours, so that is definitely helping the drivers with any tire issues. Pitch now at the end of Sector 2 is 2.1 behind Ray here. So Ray here starting to gap right a little bit. Jones only 7.4 behind. Up farther ahead, Marlon Andrade pits from P17. Looks like he's got a little bit of side damage. Doesn't look like it's anything serious, but he will drop down the order a little bit. Unfortunate for the Brazilian, who had a promising start, but then fell down the order. Now, pitch just crossed the line. He's 1.9. He gained 2/10 in the final sector there, as he does, but he does a lap 2/10 slower than our race leader, Chris Jones, behind. Looks like he lost the rear end a little bit out of the final corner. He actually lost 2 seconds there, and now he's got right on his rear end. Jones is a 2 of 4.8. He's got right in his rear view mirror, right, 1.5 across the line. Definitely a lot closer now as they go onto the mountain straight. Let's ride on board with Wright. Yes, that is under a 1 second gap. So Jones's chances of catching the front pair seem to be squashed, as now he has to deal with Connor right from behind. So apologies for the commentator's curse, but right now, as they come up to the first sector mark in the cutting, is going to be well under a second, might be a half second behind. But this is going to be a hard-fought battle for third. Yes, there's 3.5 tenths behind. Let's go with the helicam now as we watch them go through Griffin's Mount and into Reed Park. The left-hander of Reed Park, followed by the left-hander of Frogs Hollow and Solomon Park. Here, through Solomon Park and John Hicksman Vista, there's not much separating these two cars, as it's now a 10.3 second gap to Jones, from Jones to Pitchich. So Jones starting to feel the pressure from behind. He's going to have to drive very defensively if he wants to hold on to the podium. Right, very hungry for another podium. Will definitely try his best to get around Jones. We've seen him make some very unorthodox overtakes in the past, but now coming out of the dipper and into Forest Elbow, there's only 2 car lengths separating the Lamborghini and the Aston Martin. Right, getting a very, very good run on the Lamborghini now as Aston Martin V8 engine looking to make the move. Will he go for the inside move for the first part of the chase, or will he go for the inside the second part? He's going to switch to the left-hand side. Jones covers him off, and Jones parks the car on the apex. Both of them go a little deep. Connor Wright gets a little bit better of an exit. Jones is going to swing out wide. He's going to cover the inside line for Murray's corner. Wright will not go for the lunge around the outside. Breaks a little bit earlier, and Jones hangs on to the position at this lap. But this defensive driving almost certainly guarantees that the front 2 positions will stay the same, barring any incidents, as now Jones is going to have to defend from Wright, who's looking mighty fast behind. Let's go to the broadcasting camera now as they go on the mountain straight. Will Wright go for the move before the mountain? Wright's going to swing to the right-hand side. He's going to go for the inside move into Quarry, as he's got a little bit of overspeed now compared to Jones. They're side by side going into Quarry. He has the inside line, which is usually the favorable line. They make a little bit of side contact, and Wright goes very deep into Quarry, barely keeps it out of the wall, and he will take the position away from Jones. Wright up to P3, Jones down to P4. A little bit of bumping side pods. Not the cleanest of moves, but he has made the move for it nonetheless, and Wright is up into P3. Excuse me. Farther up the road now. Pitchich currently 2.3 behind Rayer. He's not as close as he was previously. Rayer's dealing with a little bit of lap traffic, was that? Yes, there was a car that was around. That might have been July Sorp by the looks of it. It looked like that was, no, that wasn't Sorp. It was another red car that was round. It's either the 120 or the 114 car. One of which is in the pit. So was that near? No, it wasn't near Conjugate. Conjugate has a ton of damage on the car. He's going to drop way down the order after he was running right outside the points. The other car, that was Alexander Irish, who we saw around in the dipper. Both cars pitting for heavy repairs Irish, who had to get towed, will drop down the order and give a few more points to Florian Bauer. But get back up towards the front now. Tom Ray here currently leading the way. He's got 2.5 seconds, maybe more, over Ole Pitschich now. 2.6 now as they both finish the lap. And with 4 laps to go, Tom Ray here, if he can keep it going at this rate, he should have his second race victory of the season. The German driver with a very hard-fought drive so far. Yes, Connor Wright currently up in the P3. Jones down to 4. After that move into Quarry, Wright made the right decision to go for the inside move of Quarry, as that was the first overtake we've seen him go successfully into Quarry, because that outside line, not really the line you want into Quarry. So with 6.5 minutes left, well, what happened with 8 minutes left, he made it work. And the sector marks now, Pitschich matching Rayher's first sector. So it's not enough if he wants to win this race with 6 minutes to go, but it's still an improvement. Speaking of an improvement now, we'll go back to some of these other drivers who aren't getting as much love but are having fantastic races. Andy Vandervelde, currently in 6th position in his McLaren, having himself a heck of a race right now. 5.9 seconds off of Justin Hooley. And Hooley, who's having a really good race in P5. Vandervelde having his best race in P6. He will more than double his points tally at the end of this race if he holds position. In P7, we got D'Acusa, who's having a mighty good race as well. Another driver outside the top 20 in points, who's currently running in the top 10 and having a very good race in the Bentley. In 8th place, we have Chen, who's having his best race by a long shot, the Chinese driver in the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini, that's been looking very quick today around the track. They are 2 of 3 Lambos. The third one's Jack Simpson, who has not raced his last 2 races. Well, he hasn't raced 2 of the 4 races, I believe. So the Lambo's looking very quick around this track. Possibly one of the best cars around here by the looks of it. It's been very good for these guys. It's been able to keep it out of trouble and keep it stable on the track. Frank Pedrozzini running in 9th position in his Audi, 29th in the championship. So we got 4 guys from 7 to 9. Or, no, sorry, 4 guys from 6 to 9 who are all outside of the top 20 in the championship, running in single-digit finishing position. So hats off to these guys. And then Shooter running in P10, sitting in 30th. So this is pretty good. Some pretty good stuff so far that we're seeing from the field today. And with 4.5 minutes to go, they should all hold position. There's not really any close battles on track at the moment, as Pitschich is now 3.1 behind Ray here. Connor Wright is starting to reel Pitschich in, but with 4 minutes to go and 2 laps and about a half for Ray here to go, I don't think that'll be enough time for Wright to catch up to Pitschich at this rate. So unfortunate for Wright. Fortunate enough for Pitschich, who was looking very quick on the low fuel. So, but unfortunately, he was not able to make the overcut work on Ray here. Came out right behind him and has since fallen off from the German driver. But yes, we currently still have, I believe we still have 25 drivers. No, we are down to 24, so we have another retirement. So we know that Paolo Koski, who also has retired. So, all right, so I'll read off the retirements that I know. So we got Dennis Latz, retired. Adam Dubiel, Mateusz Kazicek, Mario Marin, Gillian Hardenberg, Pasquale Di Lucia, James Calley, he was our most recent retirement. Axel Grossa retired. Paolo Jarzbakowski has retired. Yes, those are the retirements, and we're down to 24 out of 33 drivers right now. So look at John Sebastian Gasnega's car, the last of the Nunschlaps, Shimmy Skins on the track right now. He's not had a good race at all. He's been in the wall a few times, running 6 laps down, but he's still going, and that's all that matters. So go back up towards the front. Pitschich just closed the gap a little bit on the race leader, as that's Nico Ohl, who is yielding to the 2 front runners. Not wanting to disturb their battle across the mountain. He knows better, so I'm sure they are very thankful for that. as we speak. Chris Jones has dropped off Connor Wright by 4.1 seconds. So Jones struggling in these latter laps of the race. He did a 2 or 3.9. So before he was gapping close to a second faster than our race leaders, but now is almost a second adrift of their pace. So unfortunate to see him drop off, but he cannot be disappointed with the P4, as it is another fantastic result for him today. But 2 laps to go now. You know, anything can still happen. You know, we got some pretty. It's looking like everything's been pretty stable these last few laps, but one mistake on these final laps, especially with the worn tires that Ole Pitchers and Tom Rayer have. You know, they got 1 lap in a sector to go until they get the checkered flag. But it's not to say that the race is over just yet, so keep an eye with these guys now. Probably will actually keep with Tom Rayer, who's currently leading the race, looking to go 2 for 4 on the season and 2 for 2 in the most recent races in victories. He will most certainly get a huge gap in the championship, as Ole Pitchich will be his nearest rival. Pitchich, who's already 94 points adrift, will become, I believe, 104 points adrift after this. Yes, it's a 10-point gap from first to second. As right here starts the final lap of the race, holding position. We'll give him a 104-point gap over Pitchich going into the mid-season break. So, of course, that gap can be taken out if, you know, Pitchich wins a race. Rayer is forced into retiring. So you never know. Season's not over, but Rayer right now in command of the field, looking like the class of the field right now. On the final lap, he's got almost two sectors to go around Mount Panorama. This very tricky track, so we'll keep watching with him now as he goes through the cutting. Very tricky corner, uphill braking, driving uphill into Griffin's Mount. And now into Griffin's Mount, and now into Reed Park, which is that second part of that chicane, and then the left-hander of Frog Hollow, then into Solman Park now, and then John Hicksman Vista is wide, and then into McPhillamy Park, where he had that incident before, and now into Skyline one last time as the race timer is at 0. Now going through the S's, just needs to keep it clean one last time down the mountain, barely staying out of the walls, taking as tight of a line possible while keeping his momentum going. And now through the dipper, all he has left is the braking zone of the Chase and Murray's Corner, and Rayer will win the Bathurst 90 minutes. Now I think he's flashing his lights. I think he's telling us, hey, this is going great. I don't think that's the damage on his car. At least I hope not. But if that is, then that's a magnificent job for the German driver today. But right here now, going into the chase, into the braking, having to use any kind of brake marker that he's kind of figured out on his own, as the brake boards have been gone since the first 10 minutes of the race. Now, Tom Rayer's got 1 quarter to go. It's Murray's Corner. And there goes Rayer as he comes out of the final corner and wins the Bathurst 90 minutes. Right here, our race winner, Ole Pitchich, finishing second place with his best result of the season. Connor Wright coming home to finish out our podium in third. Third place, Chris Jones, who was looking for the potential to steal the win, but had not a great last few minutes, has his best finish of the season, comes home taking P4 and a nice haul of points. Next behind, Justin Hooley in his Ferrari. Hooley's going to take 5th position today. Fantastic drive by the British driver. 6th place, Andy Vandervelde, also having a magnificent drive as well in his McLaren. And Vandervelde coming home to take 6th position. Dakuza, one of our 2 coordinators in that very nice liveried Bentley, coming through Murray's Corner now, will take home 7th position. Great job for Dakuza. Chen, probably my driver of the day considering how his season has gone so far, will come home to take 8th position as he comes home and takes a beautiful result, followed up by Frank Pedrozzini in the Audi, finishing P9. And then everyone's quote-unquote other favorite coordinator, Scooter 80, crosses the line and shoots his way into 10th. That is Shooter, home safe and sound in P10, followed by the American of Sir Williams. Great job by him. Samir Foch now crossing the line in P12. Tobias Gerhardt who had a rocky race, actually. It looked like he was going to really plummet down the order after going off track, battling Neri Conjuglu. Finishes P13. Paulo Lima will come home to finish 14th after serving that drive-through at the start of the race. Great recovery drive for Lima. And in 15th, rounding out our lead lap finishers, was Rhea Aubrey, who in their first race in Tier 2 AOR manages a nice P15. Fantastic job for the field. In 16th will be Marlon Andrade, 17th Alan Rake, 18th Neri Conjuglu, 19th Florian Bauer, 20th Nico Ull, 21st July Thorpe, 22nd Jay Fang, 23rd Alexander Irish, and rounding out our finish today is John Sebastian Casanega. The drivers that retired today include James Cali, Alex Torregrosa, Pasquale Di Lucia, Gillian Hardenberg, Mario Marin, Mateusz Kazicek, Paul Jarzmakowski, Adam Dubiel, and Dennis Latz. So unfortunate to see several drivers have to retire as the mountain took no prisoners today, but fantastic stuff for today. Alrighty, let me go ahead and make it clear that interviews are open. So we will save the replay. I believe I will save that. So I kind of want to see, because there will be a few things that I will want to maybe possibly go back over. Now as I leave the session, I'll see if anyone would like a post-race interview. So we'll disconnect from the lobby now. And I'm going to mute the game volume so I can hear clearly once we do get anyone who may potentially want an interview. Let's put that there. Let's put this right here. Let's go ahead and pull up Discord. Alrighty, so we got 3 drivers who looking to take an interview today. We will start with our race winner, Tom Ray here. So let me get it set up. Give me a sec. Hello there, Tom. How are you feeling after winning another race this season? I can believe it. I mean, I saw the replay of you smacking the wall coming out of McPhillamy Park, and I thought, man, how is he going to be able to recover from that? That was a very hard lick into the wall, and you managed to make that car work. May I ask, how much damage did you have on that car by the end of it? Oof. Yeah, I did notice that you and Ole Pitchich pulled the strategy of not changing the tires. That worked very well for you. That was a fantastic drive. You made it work. Yeah, you once again have blown away the audience with that pace that you showed in that Ferrari. And now going into the break, how do you feel so far about how the season's gone as like these first 4 races come to a wrap? Yeah. Yeah. Championship-wise, after this race, you will have a 104 position or 104 point gap, which is more than a race victory. And so right now you're looking great in that, and you are right. You are the only driver to keep it clean and out of the wall. Do you feel that's maybe something with your driving style? Would you not like push like 100% each lap, just make sure you keep it clean, or how do you feel like you go about it? Any comments on that? That's good. Yeah, because I mean, looking how you drive, I'm thinking, how are you able to? Some of the lap times you were doing at the start of the race were fantastic, and then towards the end there, so you said you didn't change tires, which we noticed, and then when you saw they come into the pits and then come out right behind you, what was going through your head there? Because he was lapping pretty quickly up until the pits. Yeah. Yeah. Not 100% what he did in the pits, but I did time it and it was 20 seconds, so he definitely did not change tires. I can say that for sure. So he was on the same strategy. Okay, so that would answer that question there onto how he got out so quickly. And you, I mean, it looks like your damage was it that like a tactical spin looking back now that you think about it, getting that understeer. Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, it worked out for you, and you are sitting once again, or standing rather, however you want to put it, on the top set of the podium after another fantastic drive. So great job today, and I look forward to seeing you back on track once again in 2 weeks. Thank you. You too. All right, and that was the voice of Tom right here, who won another fantastic race. Next, we got Florian Bauer. I know we had a third person wanting possible being interviewed, so let me quickly ask if they want. All right, so let's go ahead and get Florian Bauer in here, who started out having a great race, but then had that little bit of an accident on the mountain. Let's see if we can go ahead and figure out what happened there. So give me 1 sec to edit this, and then we'll bring him on in. Oh, that's a little too big. Gotta make sure he's got his whole name there. All right, let's bring him in. Hello there. How are you feeling after that race? Yeah, you were looking mighty quick at the start. But we watched on replay, and you had that little bit of an accident on the mountain. I mean, well, the first lap you had like that little bit of what was it, rear wheel spin. Well, are you feeling like on the mountain your car was a little too oversteery per se? Hmm. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I was just talking to Tom about it, and he said the exact same thing. Like he had a similar incident, which is what you overtook him. He smacked the wall, got a bunch of front end damage, gave him understeer, and he said all of a sudden the car felt better. So, uh, I mean, I find that interesting to say the least, wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks like definitely wasn't your best race. But hey, if you look at the amount of guys who DNF today, and you got to take the fact that you carried through and still, you still had a decent finish. But I think you finished higher up than you did in Hungary. So you gotta look at the positives in that, right? Yeah, I do agree on that. Yeah. So how do you feel now? Obviously, there's been
Back in Hungary, you got caught up in the car. There's not much you could do there. And here, just a simple thing. How do you feel like? What are you gonna do in like this off week coming up to kind of make sure that you reset and kind of just make sure that you come back stronger than ever? Because those first 2 races of the season you were flying like holy cow, and I'm looking forward to seeing that come back. So how do you think you can get back to that?
The next races should be good for the Mercedes as well. Probably a little bit more practice should cover that, and in the end, just have to be maybe more focused on the race. Hope that I can take some good places. So maybe with a little chance in the championship, but I don't know. I think that's probably done.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hats off to you. Good luck in the off week, and I look forward to seeing you once again on track in 2 weeks. Hopefully, I'll see you a lot higher up the field, like for the whole race, that is, because you seem to have great qualifying pace and great race pace as well. So I very much look forward to seeing you back on track.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful evening, and can't wait to see you back in 2 weeks.
Bye bye.
Yep. Bye bye. So I might have accidentally muted some of the talks there for the interviews. I do apologize if I just made that mistake. Might have accidentally done that. I believe I have it recorded on my end, so I should be able to try to re-upload that. But whether or not you guys just heard what was gone through, basically Tom was very happy with how his race went. He's very tired, cramping up a little bit, but he's overall very excited with how his race went, and he felt that a little bit of front damage gave him the understeer he needed to hold on to his car and not have it oversteer. Florian said the same thing, but he said outside of 2 or 3 laps, the race was pretty good. So hopefully we see the two of them battling once again towards the front. We saw it a little bit at the start of the race, and hopefully we'll see all you guys watching AOR ACC Tier 3 once again in the span of 2 weeks' time. What track we go at, I need to double check actually, because I do not know what is next after the break. So in 2 weeks, we will actually be in Italy once again, but this time for Imola. So at a track that definitely benefits the Mercedes, but it's going to be another home Grand Prix per se for the Ferrari. It'll be interesting to see how the two of them go about it and how the rest of the field goes. So hopefully we'll see many of you guys back. And thank you so much for sticking around for these 2.5 hours. It's been a long one, but been a very fun one. So thank you ever so much for watching, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.